Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of today. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Hey, it's going all right. It's going all right. So, it's been a rough week, but I don't think I'm alone in that. Last Thursday was a little insane around here, but that's
Around
all
here,
right.
yes.
But other than that, things are going all right. Had a good weekend. Got to go to the state fair with my family and go have some fun, eat a lot of really awful food. Well, awful for you, delicious, but awful for you. And do all the stuff that you do at the fair. So that was a little fun, and we had some decent weather for it too.
And you know what? I think that's great. It's great that you took some time to spend with your family to do something that's not depressing, because there's no shortage of depressing things going on. So at least taking a break and doing something else is good. I try to do similar things and just kind of step away. I don't know if you noticed, on the channel I have that for movie reviews and for pop culture news, I kind of haven't really been posting much there this past week. I each time I sit and try to put together a video and talk about something, I don't know how to explain it. I have this kind of sad, strange, sad feeling. Uh, I don't know. I'm still sort of processing as to why it is, but I feel like what happened last week with Charlie Kirk somehow continues to somehow have an impact. It's strange because it's not like I knew the guy, and it's not even that I
Yeah,
agreed with every
yeah,
opinion that he had. You know what I mean? But s- I, I guess for many years now, and I'm sure this has happened to a lot of people. If you're on X, if you're in our circles, if you're even on YouTube or any platform, you've encountered these videos of Charlie Kirk sitting at a college talking to some kids, and I actually a lot of times I'd watch those and I think to myself, it's nice that somebody's going out and talking to them. And I thought that he was doing it in a respectful way. It didn't mean that I have to agree with every word that he said. I still respected what he was doing. And overall, he didn't seem like a bad guy to me. He just doesn't come off that way. He seemed really positive about wanting to talk to people. And I don't know. The whole, it's not only that he was killed, even that so quickly we had access to those videos that if I could delete them from my mind, I wish I could, but I can't, of how he was killed,
yeah.
and it's really, really difficult. I don't know why I don't know why it has such an impact, or maybe you can explain it to me better than I can explain it to me.
Well, I think there's been a lot of people who've been really moved by this whole thing. There's been I've been watching a lot of videos online from different creators talking about uh how certain things moved them, how the that they've been disgusted by some of the awful things that they've seen online. They've been touched by some of the amazing tributes from people they've seen online. There's a creator named Sydney Watson. I don't know if you know Sydney Watson,
Isn't
Price.
she Australian or something?
Yeah, and then she moved to the US. She started doing kind of a little tour um recently, the Hell Gondola tour. She's very, very humorous. She's very, very smart. She's been very outspoken about the specifically talking about the trans movement, but a lot of other stuff, just really arguing like from a woman's perspective, from a rational perspective, talking about a lot of these different ideas and why so many of these things that are coming from the left are uh so deeply toxic and harmful, to not just our discourse but like our psyche, right? And she made a video, she released it just a few hours ago, And it was the first video she's made in quite some time, and for her, it's been over a week, almost 2 weeks, and she had been on vacation, and she said she found out, while she was on vacation, and even then, like, after she got back, she felt like she wanted to make a video, but for whatever reason, like, every time she would sit down to try and write, she would just be crying, and then every time she would try and record, she would be crying. And she just talked about it. She was just talking about how she's been processing it and how it doesn't really like it on its face, it doesn't make sense, right? That I didn't know this guy. He wasn't my friend. I didn't spend time with him, didn't hang out with him. But at the same time, like, his loss has been incredibly affecting. Why is that? And there's been a lot of different people that have talked about this. And, I think it's just a lot of people are recognizing that this is a guy that, whether you agreed with him or not, whether I had some differences of opinion with him about things. I am a Christian. I believe a lot of the same things that he has to say. There were other things that he said where I was like, man, I don't know. You're getting a little over the edge here on this. But a lot of times, the more you would listen, he would explain kind of the way that his thought process and whatever. But anyway, like, I think it's this recognition that this was, whether you liked his opinions or not, a genuinely good person who was taken in the prime of his life, taken from his wife, taken from his children, taken from those people in the world that loved him, his friends, his, fans, taken because he said something somebody didn't like. And that is very disturbing. On just directly, just human level, right? That there's, that he was killed because he had a political opinion that someone didn't like, because he said things and argued things that people were upset by. And I think it's completely okay for anybody who looks at that and says that is absolutely a truly awful thing. For whatever reason, somebody decided, and I think we can talk about this tonight, Bryce. We've now apparently gotten some of the reasons behind this, since now there's been text messages and all of this stuff that's come out. But
For sure.
somebody decided that violence was a reasonable response to his speech. And as we kind of said, and we said on Thursday as well, when we were talking about this, that there's also a lot of people waking up and realizing that for some reason there are people out there who would happily take our lives because they don't like our opinions, and they're okay with that. Yeah, it's really disturbing. It really is, Price. I think something might have happened with your mic, Price. I think we're hearing a lot of keyboard noise, so you might be on the wrong mic.
Oh, you think I'm on the phony mic?
I think you might be on the computer mic, because I was hearing all your typing just now.
Wow. How long have I been on the I think now I'm on the good one. How long was I on the phony one?
You sound better now.
Now it's better?
I'm surprising. It sounded okay earlier. It was maybe a little echoey, but I couldn't really tell. But yeah, it sounds better now. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad we solved that
Yeah, I
case.
was just I wasn't sure, like I was like, oh, maybe it is the right mic. I can't tell. But
Weird
yeah,
things
once I
happened. It
started
also
hearing you kind of clacking away on the keyboard, I was like, oh yeah, he's on the wrong mic.
there's 2 things that are weird. One, the mic wasn't the one that I thought I selected, and the other thing is I think it doesn't let me highlight comments But let me.
Someone was saying that maybe the it looked like maybe the sound dropped out for a second earlier. So, oh, and Price is stepped out for a moment. That's fine. But you know what, Tim? Yeah, Catholic, Presbyterian. I don't get into the sectarian argument there. The it all maybe different ideas, maybe different methodologies, but still all part of the you know still all part of that body of Christ. And everybody has arguments about that stuff. I don't get into it. I really don't. It's not
What I wanted to
something I
say
get into.
is that hopefully now everybody can hear me, and I
Yeah,
think
you
I'm
sound good.
here. And let me see if I can highlight a comment, so then I'll feel good about myself.
Feel
Yeah,
better. There you
okay.
go. You got Tim Hayes
You
putting
got
putting
Tim
the
Hayes
Trump
always
dance in there. Sounds good.
dancing. So what I was going to say was there's a few different layers to this. One, when I was trying to do these videos, and the interesting part is, and you've seen my channels and the kind of videos I've done and things we've even talked about here on these streams, that for the past few months a big topic that I was talking about was Superman. And I was saying all the time how I believe that there was a reason why Warner Brothers were so desperate to show that it was a success. And after what happened with Charlie Kirk, it turned out that Warner Brothers was basically, uh, there's talk of a sale to Paramount, and
Yes.
that that's basically like the smoking gun, no pun intended, with James Gunn. It's
No.
the smoking gun, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. Even that, when I think about that, it's not even a term that I enjoy saying now. But you understand what I'm trying to say. It
Absolutely.
was
Yeah, everyone knows what that term means. Yeah,
it
it's just
was what I was waiting for. It was the
yeah,
one thing that after a series of videos where I battled people, battled other YouTubers, battled channels with, some of them
yeah,
with 20 times the size of the following and all that kind of stuff. And finally, there was something that I could say, here, gotcha, here it is, and really show how it confirms everything that I've been saying. And that's a video that I wanted to make. But I just, every time I sit down, I think to myself, you know what? I don't want to say what does it all matter, but it's like when I think of what happened to Charlie Kirk, it's like, what am I going to sit here? So I was right about the Superman thing. It's sort of like this kind of wave of sadness or something. I don't really know how to explain. Is like I continue to feel it, and when I sit here and I want to make that video, it feels so small and stupid, and I can't even make the video. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it was the thing that I was waiting for. It
yeah,
was the slam dunk that I was waiting for. I was next to the basket waiting for the ball to do, like, this fancy slam dunk, and then it came, and now I can't even bring myself to make the video because I don't know. And I'll tell you why, because, yes, we're not him. We're not him. We don't go to colleges, and we don't talk to students, and we probably don't have the exact same opinions of him, but I will say one thing about the both of us. We sit here and we talk to people about our opinions. Sometimes these opinions aren't necessarily the mainstream. Maybe they're not the most popular opinions. It's been that way even before we were ever on streams or anything. We've been around these circles for years on X, responding, reacting to things, and and opposing certain things that we didn't like about entertainment and being vocal about them. And we were the type of people, even if it's just movies and pop culture, that we were very vocal about things that we were interested in, and we would try our best to have good faith arguments with people or debates or whatever you want to call it, even people that didn't agree with us. And this guy was the real deal. He didn't sit here like us. He went and he wanted in person to have these conversations.
yeah,
It takes much more courage to do that. He went and he did that. And the fact that he wanted to tell people his opinions, he was so enthusiastic, but he also was very respectful in how he spoke to them. And this is how he ended up. And somehow that is the part that gets to me. And even now I probably am not explaining it well, but that's, I
no,
guess, the something
yeah,
that I feel the connection to him, even if he's different than me.
yeah. And there's been a lot of people who yeah, have been talking about who Charlie was and him going and doing these talks. Yeah, again, I was not his biggest follower. I knew who Charlie was. He actually he was on my campus over a year ago. spoke to people here, and he was really respectful. What I got to see of it, I did not participate, but I got to see some of it, and he was really respectful of the people that were asking questions. And the truth was that most of the people that got up to talk to him, even the people who were disagreeing with them, also tended to be relatively respectful. There's some of them would try to hop up there with the gotcha moment or whatever like that, but a lot of times they were actually engaged in debating with him, which was fascinating. Now that not might not be the same at every campus. In fact, I know it's not because I've seen videos from other campuses, but they were engaged, and I genuinely think, not necessarily the person that has now been charged, with his murder, but a lot of other people who are on the left. I think one of the reasons that they had such hatred for him is because he was very effective at what he did. That he actually got out and talked to people and did so in a reasonable way. He most of the time, he was very reserved. He did not lose his temper. He was willing to entertain other ideas. I saw, there was, one particular video I know that I had seen shared at one point where he was called on the carpet by a deaf professor for having said something about not liking having the sign language, and why would we need the people up there doing the sign language when we've got closed captioning and stuff like that on the screen. And she called him on the carpet and said, hey, this is why that's important. Here's the, and this, and he genuinely, he said, I didn't realize these things. I did not understand that. And I'm glad that you were sharing that kind of thing with me. And, I genuinely did not realize there were so many people that for them, this was more of, like closed captioning. It doesn't give them the same connection to the words that having the sign language gives them, and also, so it was really interesting to see that, like, actually see him, like, take a step back and be like, I'm really sorry. I did I didn't recognize that. That's I'm glad that you came and talked to me about it and helped educate me on this. He he was someone who got out there and really talked to people and was really effective at what he did. And I think, again, that's why there were a lot of people who really, really did not like him on the left, because I think he was becoming very effective, had been very effective in communicating with a group of people that the left just believes is theirs by default, right? That they shouldn't have to compete for young people, for in the arena of ideas. Young people should just belong to them. Like, there's a lot of Democrats that believe that they shouldn't have to earn votes from Black communities or Hispanic communities or whatever, because that's just a community that automatically votes for Democrats. And yeah, yeah, it has been just so very disturbing, so very um, so unreal to just think about all of this. And yeah, there's a lot of us that are still out there, still processing. Yeah, we got a super chat here from the dead
Super
man.
chat from the dead man, who seems to have changed his avatar, although I can't really see what he's changed it to. Good job, douche. You just made Charlie into a martyr. I think that's one. I'm not
Yep,
talking
yeah,
about you
martyr.
guys. Centrists are now going to go right wing. It is entirely possible. I'm sure this is going to have some kind of effect. Istophobos, how did they explain that at least half the clips I've seen, the sign language interpreter was signing complete nonsense gibberish? More than half.
That was not breached as a subject, but I have actually seen videos done by people who were deaf, who did speaks, very fluently use ASL, who did call out some of those some of those videos where the supposed interpreter is clearly a total fraud because they're so bad.
And Istophobos. It's funny. It sounds like something that would happen on the Naked Gun. Like in
Yes.
I can see. I mean, think Leslie Nielsen Naked Gun. I could totally see a situation where he's doing the sign language. I wish they would have done a scene like that with Leslie Nielsen because he would have just knocked it out of the park. But Istafobos, I also want to say it was a Rumble rant for $2, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Istafobos.
Thank you, Ista.
That was that, and the Dead Man. It was a super chat for 4.99. So thank you to both of you.
It
And,
turned Charlie into a Marty. No.
you know, another thing that I'll say is that again, back in the day, the way it worked is sometimes videos of his would pop up in my feed. I always did think, not just now because he passed away, like, you know, because he I don't even know how to explain this, but you know what I mean. He's not with us anymore. I would see his videos, and I really was impressed that he took the time to go do that. I'm not just saying it now. I think that usually, if you know, how sometimes you're fiddling around and suddenly you get you're on X, you're swiping something, suddenly a video comes up or something like that, or on YouTube, or you know how it is sometimes. If
Oh,
I'd see one of his,
absolutely.
yeah, unfortunately that happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when I see his video, I'd actually watch it, and I didn't get a bad impression of him. I thought that it was interesting what he was trying to do, and now after he's passed away, uh, you know, passed away is a very generous way to put it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Uh, so basically, I think more people have been sharing stuff, and there was some video that I came across where there was a person who was transitioning to be like a transformer or something like that,
Mhm.
and as opposed to all this noise, including what we'll also talk about with this guy and the transformers and whatever it is, he was very compassionate towards this young person. I don't even know.
Young confused person,
A young
yes.
confused person. He was really compassionate and nice to that person. I thought that he handled it very gracefully, and he was basically telling him something like, you know, be think give it a lot of thought before you put these type of drugs in your system. You don't know what could happen. And he said it in a way that felt very, you know, he didn't say it like a person who's a jerk. I felt that he's saying this in a very compassionate way. And I saw videos like that. And I saw also a lot of other videos that he's talking to people, you know, the very people that I keep hearing that he supposedly hated, and all this kind of false quotes and things. Like, it's nothing like what I see when you actually look at these videos. He seems like a really reasonable guy, and he's having these conversations with people. They're all caught up in, like, he's been sitting around talking for like, I don't know, since he was 18. And they're caught up in like three quotes that he said that are out of context, and they keep saying them over and over again.
Oh, yeah, and that more than anything has been driving me nuts, with the people who are really, very, upset and say, "Ah, it's okay if I call him out for being this and a that and the whatever and calling names and stuff." And so many of these assumptions have been just so completely twisted. They've been taken out of context. There are a couple people out there who have been posting a lot of videos. They've been posting a lot of content on X. They've been posting a lot of stuff on other places like Facebook and Instagram. Really going back and looking at uh, you know the different you know things that people are saying. Oh, he was a racist, and so then they go and they say, explain this. If he's a racist, explain this. And then they would, talk about, several of these people are young black men who are saying like, he mentored me. He invited me to come speak at this event. He, we sat down, we talked, we had dinner. He encouraged me in what I was doing. He sent me, these resources and connected me with these people. He's like, how can you say that this man was a racist when I'm a young black man, young gay black man, he's the guy saying he's like, and the he like reached out to me and changed my life and did things for me. There's plenty of other examples from other people just saying, look, I don't understand how you can just repeatedly try to drag him through the mud and say all these things about him when all you're doing is taking these 30-second sound bites so completely out of context that their meaning is just totally lost. And in fact, we had, I should probably bring up a page for this, but I guess you probably heard about some of the firings that have been happening, Price.
I've heard some stuff, but you could definitely
Well,
highlight some
there's
stuff here.
one specifically from the was it the Washington Post? Uh,
Which
uh,
there's been so many.
see,
You
yeah,
feel free to remind me.
yeah, a black journalist. She was with the Washington Post, and she had made several posts recently. Specifically, had been denigrating white men, which had already violated the the rules at the Washington Post for journalists. Karen Atia is her name. Here I can share a screen real quick while we talk about it for a moment. Karen Atia. Oh, I can't get. Yeah. So she had been saying a lot of really demeaning things, specifically just talking about, white men are the most dangerous, whatever. Oh, this and white men, whatever. Which had already, I think, kind of upset some people at the Washington Post. That's pretty tough to upset somebody at the Washington Post for
Right.
posting
Yeah.
leftist content, right? I think had already kind of, pushed up against the uh, the borders of what would be acceptable under their rules, right? And then chose during this whole response the other day chose. It looks like it's gonna. They decided to, or she decided to post a quote when talking about Kirk and saying, that he had said really hateful things and whatever, and then posted a completely false quote taken completely out of context, falsified, and then decided to put that out there. That's her commentary on, the death of Charlie Kirk. 'Cause, black women do not have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a person's slot. He never said that. And even though he did say something that's partially part of that quote, she summarized it. She changed the language to make it sound like he was attacking an entire race and all black women, which he was not. He was calling out specifically people like Ketanji Brown Jackson, who were DEI hires, who were people who had been brought in under affirmative action, saying that they did not earn the position that they were in based on the fact that they were chosen because of their race and because of their sex. When you put it all in context, it all completely like what he's saying. I mean, would it be offensive to some people? Absolutely. Is it maybe on the edge of what might be acceptable to some people? Most certainly. But when they take everything out so completely out of context that they literally just have to make quotes up. Yeah. Well, you know what? What's the the famous meme? As you see, when you increase your f around, you also increase your find out.
That's
Right?
true.
So yeah, she finally pushed it too far and was terminated from the Washington Post. She was sent a letter on the weekend saying you are gone. You violated our social media policies, and they didn't even call out what she had said here. They called out all the other stuff that she had done, with generating racial animus towards a particular group, specifically white men. They didn't even call out this post that had to do with Charlie Kirk and her just as a quote unquote journalist just completely making up a quote. N
Yeah, I mean, it's not the it also reminds me of what happened with Stephen King, but let's see what Estefogbo says. They love taking Kirk out of context. It's their only play because he's not who they try to make them out to be. I
No,
agree.
not at all.
You had that situation with Stephen King. Stephen King, it's really strange because back in the day when in his youth, He was known for being a good writer, and somewhere around the past like 10 years or so, man has gone up the deep end, full TDS, whining and whining all day on X, and he's so annoying. And he wrote something after Charlie Kirk was killed. He wrote something like, "Oh well, he did want all the LG people killed," or something like that. And he never said that. He like
No.
Stephen King then got a lot of replies from people who are in that group and said, "No, like
Yeah.
that's
And
the opposite."
shared the full video in which he was discussing and directly quoting from the Bible, had a Bible open in front of him, was reading from the Bible and saying that that was the ascribed punishment in the Old Testament. He was talking about historically, like, from biblical stuff, not saying that that's how, you know, homosexuals are supposed to be treated today, not calling for homosexuals to be stoned, but looking back at the, did biblically, like in the Old Testament, thousands of years ago, that this was the ascribed punishment. That's not the case anymore. That's not how the church is. That's not what's called for by the the law of the New Testament and so on. He was specifically talking about that in a context of a much larger and longer discussion, but they just take him and they just, oh, we're just going to read this one little part. Oh, look at that. He just said that homosexuals are supposed to be stoned. It's yeah,
It's
again,
as
just
if I
taking
would take what
things
you just
wildly out of
now, like,
context.
just delete everything you said before and after, use the quote, and say that's what you said. It
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
it's such a crappy thing to do. It's just such a shitty maneuver, sorry, and I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
sorry, Sean.
it's
Not even
it's
gonna sorry, it's a
completely
shitty
disin
maneuver.
it's completely disingenuous is what it is. So, one guy that I've seen specifically, and, I recommend that people go out and follow this guy. I've been actually following him for a while, even before, all of this stuff started happening with, Charlie Kirk, is, I'll just show you, this guy. Not saying it's a full endorsement of everything this guy says, but he's very, very smart. Jeffrey Mead. I don't know if you've seen him, Price, but,
I've seen some
he
videos that pop up on my feed. He usually
he
seems rather
he
reasonable.
is he's an incredibly solid, very, very, well-spoken young man, and he's very, very good at presenting his ideas, I think very much in the mold of a Charlie Kirk. And he a lot of times what he does is he looks at videos and he responds to them. He looks at social media posts from other people and responds to those. He talks about a lot of his own stuff too, but I've been very, very impressed with the way that he argues and comes back at these people. This one specifically, he was talking about. This is another one that people have tried to call it, saying that Charlie Kirk specifically came out and said, "Oh, the Civil Rights Act was a mistake." And saying that that means he wanted, black people back in chains, he wanted Jim Crow back and all that stuff. That is absolutely not what happened. When he was talking about that, what he was saying was that the Civil Rights Act, while it was good in what it was intended to do, it was good in that what they created was actually something that was supposed to help, uh, you know, these people, specifically black people, but others as well, other minorities, but that it went too far and has been used in recent years to justify all sorts of other madness, like the stuff that's been happening with, Title IX, making it so that we can, well, that's Title IX's a different thing, but just making it so it's like, well, okay, civil rights. Now we're going to say, well, we're going to create all sorts of other protected groups, and now those also get the same sort of protections and the same sort of stuff. So we're just going to start creating protected groups. Okay, you're gay, protected group. You're trans, protected group. Uh, you're this, you're that. You identify this way, whatever, protected group. And so then it's created chaos. And so what he was saying in making that argument was not that the Civil Rights Act was bad and that black people should be back in chains. That's not what he said. He
No,
said that
I never thought.
yeah,
I actually, without even looking at all the details, what I figured that he was saying is like what you said, that the intentions were good, but something happened at the end that over time, it
yeah,
probably didn't achieve the kind of effect that they
yeah,
thought that it would get. I thought it had something to do, he was saying something, I could be vaguely remembering this, something about, that it gave incentive for the family not to be together for different payments, and maybe I'm confusing it with something else, but I remember seeing something a while back, and I don't believe that he just said that he wanted everybody in chains or whatever you're saying. I think that he had a more nuanced thought about this, and it wasn't a malicious one, from what I recall.
yeah, yeah, very, very specifically, just saying, yeah, it was written too broadly, and it has been used in ways in recent years that are not in line with the very noble intentions of the original document, the original bill that was passed. It's been manipulated, it's been twisted, and it's been used to put a lot of evil into the world, frankly, is what he was discussing. So, yeah, it's yeah, pretty wild. But yeah, great follow if you're on X, Jeffrey Mead. Got a lot of really great stuff to say, and I've been really
I've
impressed.
watched some of his stuff. Yeah, he seems like he's had some good analysis. Istafobos DM'd you on Elon Musk tweet of Charlie taking on an actual Istaphobe. It's a long but great rebuttal to his critics. Let me try to
Yeah,
find it. Hold on one second. I've seen this. I've seen this. I know exactly what this is, but yeah, I I hope nothing bad will happen if I play this. But yeah, let's see for a second. But for you, Istafobos, I will share this video and take the risk. Okay, let's see. Can you see it? Okay. Yeah, this guy is really
Hey,
yeah.
so irritating.
Mr. Kirk,
Oh, yeah.
going out tonight. I got a question for you real quick. Up until about 5 years ago when gay marriage was legalized nationwide, the conservative movement has been explicitly pro-traditional family. Now, both you and your organization advocate for the acceptance of anti-Christian, immoral lifestyles like homosexuality and transsexuality, going as far to invite drag queens like Lady MAGA to your events. It seems to me and anyone who's paying attention that conservatives just believe whatever liberals believed 5 years ago. Right now, there's a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and, oh, excuse me, phone shut off.
Go back to your notes. That's probably where you saved it. You got to like push double tap.
Right now, there's a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and rebranding pedophiles as minor attracted persons. 5 years from now, will you be promoting child drag queen shows? Will child abuse become part of the conservative platform?
Boy, that's a slippery slope fallacy if I've ever seen one. First of all, I've never invited a drag queen to come to any Turning Point USA event. I was at Politicon, and an individual by the name of Lady MAGA came up, and I took a picture, and she walked away. Secondly, let me ask you a question. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
So are you a proud Trump supporter?
Of course.
So are you sickened that he had a gay man speak at his convention?
Yes.
Then you're not a Trump supporter, my friend. Thank you very much. Let me ask you another question. Should he return the money of Peter Thiel, an openly gay man who supports his campaign?
No, if it helps him strategically,
okay.
Sure, he can.
Should he stop talking to Tammy Bruce, who's an open lesbian that's a Fox News contributor?
If it's affecting his ideas, then probably, yeah.
Okay, so you say you're a Trump supporter, yet you have all these issues and these disagreements with him. Let me be very clear about my position. My personal position, I'm a Christian first and foremost, then an American, then a constitutionalist, then a conservative, in that order. I believe marriage, biblically, if we want to have a biblical and theological discussion, as articulated in the greatest book ever to exist in the history of the world, the Holy Bible. Marriage in the Holy Bible is one man, one woman. I also do not believe in the sort of rhetoric that some people engage in, that all of a sudden that they say there's no place for gay people in the conservative movement. I do not believe that. And let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question then?
Sure, go for it.
So, the American family, liberty, freedom, the Constitution, our history, veterans, that's what we're conserving. I'll get to you later, though. Don't worry. So let me ask you a question. if you had your way, what would you do with gay people in America?
What would I do with them? I wouldn't.
Yeah, because they're not allowed in the conservative movement. So would you just kick them out anytime they show up at a Republican Party? If you were in charge, like what would you say? You can't be part of the Republican Party.
If somebody is advocating for being openly homosexual, yeah, they should not be part of the conservative movement.
So I just want to go through the list. Guy Benson, no place in the conservative movement. Dave Rubin, no place in the conservative movement. Peter Thiel, no place in the conservative movement. So that just to go down the list.
If they are supporting open homosexuality.
So I'm going to ask a very respectful question, as respectfully as I can. What does what they do in their private life concern you so much that you have to go up in front of a crowd? And
it is against God. That is
so.
why.
Let me ask
Are
you a question.
Christian or not?
Do we live in a theocracy? Yes or no? No. Do we live in a theocracy?
You said you're a Christian.
I am a Christian. And do you know what? And guess what? I will say this. Part of being a Christian is appropriately interpreting what the theological says for the individual, but also means to be long-suffering and patient and loving and kind. Jesus Christ talked to all people. Jesus Christ went and did his ministry through Judea and Samaria, and he had dinner with tax collectors, and he had dinner with prostitutes, and he did his ministry in every part of the Mediterranean. What it means to be a Christian, my friend, is to be open-minded but firm in your beliefs, so you can have that belief. But if you say there's something inherently wrong with communicating or associating just because they make different personal decisions than you, sir, are not a conservative. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, definitely not the way that he's being presented.
Mm-mm.
And it also takes courage, to in front of a crowd like this to say this. He had his beliefs, and he was who he was. He believed what he believed, and most of these conversations he has, I don't think they present him in a negative light. I feel like he was rather. I don't think he was all that extreme or anything. You may not have agreed with everything that he said, but I really don't. I think he was like a moderate conservative. I don't really know if that's a thing, but that's kind of how I would describe him. He wasn't anything. He was a guy that he seemed to want to have conversations with people, and he didn't just seem like a guy that hated everybody.
Yeah. No, he was not. He was not someone that hated everybody, and that's really, I think, I don't think irony is the right word. The biggest frustration through all of this is how many people have been just screaming and just fuming over saying he was just this hateful person, and in reality that was not who he was. He said things that people hated, for sure, but he was himself not hateful. There's been a lot of people trying to redefine what quote unquote hate speech is, right? And all of those people have been trying to set it up in a way where basically any speech that they don't like is hate speech. There are rules, there are laws about what things can be said and what things can't be said. Some places do have laws specifically about hateful speech, but for the most part, most of the laws anywhere say really that what you can't do is that you can't incite violence, and he never did that. And I dare anyone to try and find a time when he did incite violence. Another one of my favorite ones that I've seen people use over and over again, that I've seen in various conversations, has been Charlie getting very heated, probably losing his temper just a little bit, and yelling at someone in the crowd. Have you seen the video?
I'll
Yeah,
get
go
to it
ahead.
in a second. Mr. Phobos has a Rumble rant for $2. He said he was against the Civil Rights Act, not civil rights themselves. Exactly. And the people calling him hateful never saw him, only distorted reports of him, twisted cliff notes. Exactly. I actually have seen more videos like this one. I had seen his videos before, but I feel like there were certainly some that told a lot of interesting stories about his personality that I didn't catch every one of them. I think that a video like this shows something about his personality. There was also, I told you, there was one that he was talking to one of those transitioning people, and I was very surprised at how gracefully he handled that. And Tim Hayes said something like, let me see what he said. Not sure he was moderate. I think he was just willing to allow anyone in the conservative movement. I
Yeah.
think that the way he talked to people and his beliefs of being, having his doors open and welcoming, I don't think that that's just a thing for show and tell. I think that was the type of person he was.
Mhm.
I don't think that it was a charade personally. I think that whoever he was pretty much whoever he was. That's that's the impression I get. If not, if that's not the case, he really fooled me. But I think he seemed like a pretty positive person overall.
He
Uh,
really
wh-
was, and
what
he
what did you
was
want to
a.
show?
Oh, no, it wasn't anything that I wanted to show. Just there's one that several people have used, say, "Oh, see, he's hateful. He used slurs and all this stuff," because he gets up and he starts yelling at someone in the audience and says, "Chink." And I said, "See, he is using this awful slur. He's using the C word to talk about Asians." No, he was saying someone's name.
By the way, what
Chink
happened with
Uyghur.
what did I miss with Marla Sherendorf in the chat? I feel like I'm catching up now, and I don't know what people are
Oh,
saying.
she hopped in, she said, "I'm Jewish, bite me." And so I said, "I love you." And then gave her a little hug emoji.
I see. What was the context of that? I'm not
I
100%.
I don't know. Just what we've been talking about, I guess. But
Anyhow,
no, yeah. But yeah,
w
he was saying someone's name. Right? He wasn't using the C word to describe an Asian. He was actually specifically yelling at Cenk Uyghur. It was from the Young Turks, right? Who was yelling at him from the audience while he was up on stage during.
that Schenk guy, every time you see him, he's yelling.
Oh, he's
That
awful.
he's such
He's
an
horrible.
he's such an unlikable. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but man, is that guy unlikable. He every time he talks, he like has meltdowns and stuff. Recently, he was on Piers Morgan. I don't even remember who he was debating, where he had another meltdown. I can't even remember who he was. I just know that you see him, he starts yelling. I can't even remember who he was yelling at. But yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah, yeah, he's always sweaty and yelling. That's
So unlikable. I don't know
Cenk
how he
Uyghur.
like got big. How he
I
built
have
a
no idea
platform.
how he got popular.
Some of these
I
people,
know.
it feels like a sham. I don't know how they
I
got
can't
like where they
stand
got
him.
to.
Yeah, I don't know who would enjoy listening to him just scream and rant about stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Oh,
think if there
goodness.
was something else that another video. If maybe was there another video you wanted to share?
There was another. Looking to see here. There was something. Um, I will say, man, it has been so sad to see some of the people that have been coming out of the woodwork with their just awful, hateful opinions. Specifically, some Trek actors.
Yeah, that guy
Of
is
course,
such an idiot.
some of them, I already knew were awful people. Oh, I guess most of them I already knew were awful people. Specifically, Will Wheaton, uh, awful person, coming out saying awful things
He
about
did. I
Charlie
didn't even.
Kirk.
It sounds
Yes,
like on brand for him to do that.
yeah,
I will
yeah.
always say that the next generation only improved after Will Wheaton's departure. Nothing bad happened. Sometimes you have a person that leaves the show, and you're like, "Man, that really impacted the show that he left. It like never went back to being the same." And Will Wheaton's case, he was gone, and you never thought about him again.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that now to be a wise ass. I'm telling you, never thought about the guy again.
Yeah, another one was Tim Russ,
Tim
Tuvok from
Russ, yeah, that
Voyager.
guy was. I actually responded to that one.
He's had major TDS for the better part of a decade now, and yeah, he said some awful stuff, and then dared to post a picture of William Shatner with the words on it, "The only Kirk that matters."
It's such a
You
cheap and stupid thing
asshole.
to do. It's like he could have done nothing and probably that would have been fine. He doesn't have to say how much he liked him or agreed, or he doesn't have to say a word, but to do
No.
that is just like, like it's not enough. He wants to like rub it in people's face, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're just such a idiot. You're such a jerk off. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. And then we have people like Bill Shatner, who have been absolutely classy and gracious. Oh,
I have the same.
it's
Empress
covered
and
up.
M
Yeah.
says I have the same sentiment for Will Wheaton that I have for Lofty.
Oh.
I am, it's kind of strange that I think that there was this person, Lofty Pixels. I think that was that
Yes,
person's
Lofty
name.
Pixels. Yeah.
Not even sure what happened to him. Didn't he used to edit videos for the Quartering or something? Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
he was on a bunch of different streams, and then like he just had such terrible takes. Eventually, like a bunch of streams that he was on here and there, they just dropped him. Just dropped him like a hot rock and just moved on because he had some of the worst takes. And yeah, people loved to hate on Lofty, but eventually I think it just got tired. People just moved on. I haven't seen anything of Lofty for a while.
Marla Sharondoff Tim Russ was in Spaceballs and he guested on NCIS New Orleans. Well, that's
Yeah,
good to know.
been a few different things.
I only remember Michael Winslow from
Oh,
from Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
Wait, what? Who says? I hope it's not him. Who says we ain't found shit? Who says
That's
that
him.
line?
That's
Oh man,
that's Tim
that's
Russ.
kind of
Yeah.
sad because that's a good line.
Yeah, it's a funny line. Yeah.
It's a funny line. It's a good line in the movie, but aside from that, I have nothing good to say about
Yeah,
that
that
guy.
was Tim Russ, and then it was Tuvok on Star Trek. Yeah, he's done a few other things, but yeah, just completely without any class whatsoever. It's
no class whatsoever, and it's gonna now put a damper anytime I see that joke in Spaceballs because I've always liked that joke. It's the Phobos. Will was the cousin Oliver of Star Trek. Well, if they would have brought him in the final season, he would have been. But I can't really call him that. But yeah, he was very unnecessary, even though Julie Evans seems to agree. And I think Lofty walked away. I know Culture Casino would have him on, but that some people got pissed at Culture.
But
Yeah.
we do have folks like William Shatner, absolutely classy. You don't even have to say that. You don't have to memorialize. That's this, something that I said, in a tweet that I had the other day. I was like, nobody asked people to go out and memorialize Charlie Kirk if they don't want to. Nobody asked them to go out and praise him as a martyr, praise him as whatever. You know what? If you didn't like him, just shut the hell up. You don't have to go out there and make it your mission to try to tear him down after he's been killed. You don't have to make but these people that are so terminally online, they need the dopamine hit of the confirmation from their from their peer groups in social media. So they got to get out there and say something that's gonna get the clicks and whatever. And so yeah, those people, they went out and they said some horrible things, and guess what? They are a lot of them now. Especially the ones who said some of the most outrageous things, like teachers who recorded themselves dancing around in a cafe to the news in the background, talking
I saw
about
that.
Charlie Kirk's death. Those people are paying the price, and they should. And a lot of people have said, well, hey, free speech, right? We're supposed to have free speech. This isn't free speech. This is cancel culture. I thought all you people on the right were against cancel culture. No, this is not cancel culture. We literally are fearing for our lives right now. These are people who quite literally are dancing on the grave of someone because he had different ideas than they did.
They're encouraging something that's a crime, a major
Exactly.
crime. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They're supporting and encouraging people to participate in a crime in a way.
And
So that's
yeah.
the difference.
And especially when it comes to someone who is working in a job where they're being paid
To
by
educate people.
they're being paid by the government. They're being paid by their states. They're being paid by the federal government because they're soldiers or they're member, they're serving in government agencies or yeah, they're educators. I don't want a teacher in my kid's classroom who dances around and celebrates the murder of another human being, regardless of who that human being is. If it's not Vladimir Putin, even then, I don't want them dancing around and celebrating. They can say, well, he was a dictator. He was, crazy. These kind of things happen when, governments go bad, whatever. But still, like dancing around and celebrating a human being who, again, was not killed because he's a war criminal. He wasn't shot because he led a rebellion and and killed lots of people or controlled some sort of totalitarian government. No, he was a guy who went on campuses and talked to kids. That's all he did. And so it's just maddening that these people like just going out and saying these outrageous things. Yeah, William Shatner, not just one, but he had another one earlier today where he came out and was saying, "Hey, you know what? Just because someone doesn't agree with you, that doesn't mean they're a target, right? That doesn't mean you should." If they don't see your views, that's okay. Not everyone has to share your views with you, right? Uh, there was another one that I saw earlier today. It was Robert Beltran, another Voyager actor, who he doesn't post often, very rarely posts on social media. He's a fairly private guy, but he posted basically saying, saying, I'm a Christian, and it's sad to lose, a brother, and I feel so sorry for the family of Charlie Kirk, and posted a Bible verse or whatever, like just really kind, just like, hey, this is a terrible loss and we're sorry. Uh, but yeah, we have to have other actors, other, people in different positions of power, uh, not just actors, but yeah, teachers. Geez, I mean, madness that they think that would be all right.
Uh,
It's wild.
Elizabeth Quinn says, "Teachers don't surprise me. This has been over a half a century in the making. My grandmother raised me, forbade me from teaching. I would have been fourth general public schools. Are commie mills? Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right.
They
Uh,
kind of are. You gotta be real careful about, what your kids are hearing. You gotta be involved there. We do have our kid. We don't really have a lot of options here. Our kids are in public school, and we're not able to homeschool them. And so, we do, engage very closely with the teachers, and we ask our kids about, what they're hearing at school. We do know a few of the teachers, especially at the high school, where we've
Bing
gotten to meet a few of the teachers, and we do know, some of them and how they feel, about the certain issues and stuff. So it does help that we live in in the middle of the country where a lot of people are a little more on the right than they are on the left. So there's less than that, less than the typical schools perhaps that have the crazies in them. For instance, their teachers are not allowed to fly any kind of flags in their classroom if it's not the state flag or the American flag. They're not allowed any other statements like that in their classrooms. They're not allowed to have lessons on that type of stuff and so on. But yeah, yeah, it's
Bingo
wild.
Hazmat, Price of Reason, Whoopi Goldberg is horrified by Charlie Kirk's shooting death. I didn't actually hear what she had to say. Usually she has stupid takes, but I don't know if she said something positive, then that would be the only positive thing she said in years, but I have no idea. I don't know what she said. But I did want to share this clip because I thought this was interesting. Uh, and I think that it kind of it shines a light on the type of person that I think Charlie Kirk was versus what a lot of these mainstream media are trying to say. I don't, again, love everything about Bill Maher, what he says or what he does. I'm not like some big Bill Maher fan, but I will say that out of somebody that's supposed to be more on the left, or I don't even know what he's considered these days, I think that he, at times, especially in the past few years, has had surprisingly interesting moments of clarity where he kind of abandoned the very left narrative and just says whatever he thinks. So at least I have some respect for him,
Hmm.
even if I'm not like a big fan, but I don't completely disrespect him, if you know what I mean. I have no other way to describe it. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
The fight I am been having with the left, while I'm, of course, the irony, as a lot of people in my position, is still a liberal, just a traditional liberal, won't go along with their, like a lot of the stuff that's just crazy out there too far, which gets Trump elected, blah, blah, blah. As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Took me a second. Sorry, I had to absorb that.
Okay. You know, they're the people who don't want to talk. It's my main issue with them. And Charlie Kirk was a guy who, like, he was always talking. And I talked to him here. You know, the right wingers, say what you want about them, but they talk to you. They're not into this leftist think. The left really has much more of a, I don't talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. You're deplorable. I can't break bread with you.
Yeah.
Well, that attitude, and like all the right wingers, they don't have that attitude. No, again, I didn't vote for them. And Charlie Kirk and I certainly don't agree on much politically, but he sat here. He's a human being. He's not a monster.
And a husband and a father.
Yes. And I liked him. I liked them all. They're all nice people when you meet them in person. And they're not as crazy as they would. Nobody's as crazy as they make them out to be.
I thought that was a very interesting conversation, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wish that more people were like this because, and I also agree with him. I can say about myself that when I started, I've said it before. I never really registered with any party, and I've never really felt like, oh, I love this party, I love this politician. I always kind of am wary of politicians in general. But I think that years ago when I started talking about pop culture stuff and meeting people like you, but also other people in our circles, and having conversations with them, there were many people that were either kind of centrist like me, or maybe more rightly leaning, or more conservatives. And I would just have a conversation with them, and sometimes I'd say something like, well, we don't agree, we think this and that, and I say, oh, I think this and that, and that wouldn't be an issue. It'd be like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. So there's maybe some things we agree upon, something maybe we don't agree on this point, we don't agree on it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And later, I would take that and then because also a lot of people around me where I'm at, I guess I'm surrounded more by kind of left wing people, especially
Sure.
since I was working sometimes in entertainment and things like that, or just the geographical location. You in your area, maybe you have more people that are right leaning, but in my area, I think there's more like very left, sometimes very, very left. And when I was in LA doing stuff, very, very left. And I can't help but think that I probably told you this story before, that I was once at a dinner, and there was a young man at this dinner, somebody who I knew, and somebody brought up, it was around the time of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and somebody brought up that trial, and I don't know what happened. There were a few people talking about it, and I said something along the lines of, I wasn't trying to stir the pot. I said, listen, doesn't matter how you feel about the trial. There's one thing that I think is pretty obvious. The prosecutor guy, he didn't do a good job. He said he was going to do all this stuff. He didn't prove his case well. He didn't do a good job. And when you're in court and you say that you're going to prove all this stuff and then you do a really poor job, there's really no way you could win the case. And I was really just giving it was the most vanilla of observations, okay? I mean, obviously he lost the trial, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's really it's not much of a debate here. You don't need like a committee to decide if I was right. The proof is in the pudding. He lost his case, and I don't think anybody could claim that he did a great job. So somebody at this table got up and left the room
Mhm.
because I said that. And I'm thinking to myself, out of the people like you or the people that we hang out with or even online or talk to or whatever, can't imagine, can't imagine a situation, even if it's something else that we did agree or didn't agree, can't imagine a situation that somebody gets up to leave the room because I said something that's probably the most vanilla of statements ever made.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I actually agree with Bill Maher that I think that there's this situation that the you know as the more left you go, the more anybody else that's not 100% on board with everything they're saying and thinking, then all those other people are stupid, dumb, like low class, idiotic, and there's such a condescending feel like and when they're face to face with a situation that they can't swipe left or they can't block or whatever it is, they can't get rid of the person, they have to suddenly leave and run away. It's kind of like those people online that we argue or we talk to them or debate with them about like Star Wars or something, and they run away. You know the kind that I'm talking about.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and, and there's people like that in reality. That's how you those people you're thinking, what do they act in their real life? Well, that's how they act. If you say something and they don't agree with you, they'll run away in real life.
Yeah.
And I think that once you have this mentality and nobody stopped for a second and said, this is not a good mentality. This is really, really bad behavior and it's dangerous behavior. And at the end, when you see a guy like this, I'm not suggesting that the people I talked to that got up and left that they're the same as the guy that shot Charlie Kirk, but I'm just saying this kind of environment of not being able to have conversations and this is what Bill Maher was saying, to just delegitimize anybody that doesn't fully agree with every stupid thing you think or you have to say, that's a really shitty policy. And it only causes division and it only causes problem. And there's this whole young generation that between the pop culture stuff that we always criticize here and between this kind of behavior that they're being taught, it's not surprising at the end that to them somebody that doesn't agree with them is not even a person. So if they're not a person, that could lead to very bad things.
Absolutely. And one of the things I think that we have lost in recent years that we have values that we have left behind as we started to see this growth of these people who are wanting to decolonize this and whatever and try to get rid of ideas is that we've had so many people who have moved away from really the ideals that this country was founded on, which is classical liberalism, the liberalism that was championed by philosophers like John Locke and Adam Smith, where we talk about what actual liberalism is and what we mean by that, talking about, we have the right to life, liberty, and property. Those rights are not rights that are granted by a government. Those are rights that come from outside that. They come from God or they come from the universe or however you want to put it. They're these inalienable rights. They are natural rights that are just granted to us by our very existence. And also this view that the government should really its purpose is not to be Santa Claus. Its purpose is to be there to take care of the things that we as individuals can't do, like safeguarding our country by providing a military, by providing regulation that ensures that people are not going to be taken advantage of, ensuring that we are able to have our personal and economic freedoms protected from outside influences that might come in and try to manipulate our markets or manipulate our lives. all of that is classical liberalism, and so many people have just they've forgotten this. There's the left completely left classical liberalism behind like 2 decades ago. It's gone, right? They've moved completely into the area of progressives. They've left classical liberalism completely behind, and unfortunately, a lot of conservatives have also forgotten what classical liberalism is. Interestingly enough, I think Charlie Kirk, that was one of his primary philosophical motivations. He was a classical liberal. He looked at the foundation of the country and the ideals that were there, these ideas that came down from the Enlightenment and then from, very specific, like I said, Locke and Smith, these, philosophers that looked into these ideas. They talked about these political ideas of that we are given a whole lot of different rights that aren't granted to us by our government. And in fact, what we should do is create a government that is prevented from infringing on those rights. That was the whole idea of the Constitution. That's why actually so many of the founders actually argued against the Bill of Rights. They were saying, look, all of these rights that we didn't talk about these things because that's just those belong to the people. We shouldn't have to say those belong to the people. You had the others coming in on the other side that said, no, we do need to spell some of these things out. We do need to actually say, look, the government can't do this. Or we have to say the government has to do this, like ensuring speedy trials, ensuring a trial by jury, and making sure that the government's not allowed to break into your home and take your property without your permission. Laws against unlawful search and seizure, all these things that eventually became part of the Bill of Rights, and then later other amendments. All of that was built around the ideas of classical liberalism, and just so many people. We got to decolonize that, right? We got to get those ideas out. We can't have that around. What instead we need to have is a whole bunch of positive rights. We need to have all of these ideas that come in and say, oh, the government has to give you this, and the government has to give you that. And it's required that the government make sure that everybody has the same outcomes, regardless of how competent they are or how capable they are. This has been the focus of the left for the last 2 decades, and it's mind-numbing when you really start to think about it. When you really get into all the stuff that they've embraced over the last 20 years or so. It's insane, really. It really is. Istophobos, tell Price I put links to Senator Hirono and Britt in his DMs. Oh yeah, I already have Senator Hirono. we can talk about that. Oh my
Wait,
goodness,
there was
yeah.
something, I wanted to show something that
Sure.
so basically, you know, it there's a lot of different things we're seeing. We have people that are just celebrating, uh, his death. Sometimes it's just people like, everyday people and not people that are on TV or public figures, that are just doing and saying the worst things. I see that some student was expelled, I think, from some university now. I believe I saw the video. It's some guy that's walking around and like laughing and doing like mimicking Charlie getting shot and laughing at an event that was supposed to be a memorial. And I guess they expelled
Yeah,
the
that
guy.
was
If it's the one that I'm
oof.
thinking, guess they expelled
Yeah,
that guy.
good.
Does expel mean he can come back, or expel means he's out?
That depends on the school, but generally, when you talk about expulsion, that's permanent.
Well,
That
I
means
mean,
you are out. You are no longer allowed to study here. You are no longer allowed to attend here, and you are not welcome to enroll again in a later semester. Yeah, that's what expulsion means.
well, I can't say that I'm extremely disturbed by it. Based on the video I saw, that person looked like a very negative person, and let's just leave it at that.
Unhinged, perhaps, would be one way
There
to
was
put it.
something
Yeah.
else I wanted to show, that another thing we see is that these kind of reporters, some of them at the beginning were happy and saying what they think. Now they're more careful because they don't want to get fired. This guy is the strangest guy because we all know that, or if we don't know this, that Charlie Kirk was killed by that Tyler Robinson guy that had a roommate. They presented him as a roommate that was transitioning, but based on these texts that Tyler sent to his friend, I
His
don't even.
love.
He
He
keeps
he
saying he's his
he
love.
says love. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, from what we understand, this guy was in a relationship with this person that was transitioning, and he was really telling them how good and important it is what he's doing. For me, also, the way you see in these texts, it's not some guy that just snapped 1 second. This is very carefully planned and executed. And the only thing that kind of surprises me is that uh, he he seemed to have thought he could get away with it. In the text that, like, he really thought in 2025, he's like, "Oh, I gotta go back to get the rifle. What's my grandfather gonna say? I took it from him." And I'm, like, thinking to myself, "Man, this guy is a nutcase." Like, that he thought that there wouldn't be video that shows what he's done. I mean, I have to say that he managed to slip away for a few days at least until finally, it caught up with him, but I don't know. I mean, that whole exchange was weird. But what it showed is that he wanted to kill a person in cold blood, planned it, and he was talking about it openly. And then you have this guy, this reporter from ABC. Do you want to hear his coverage of this situation? Are
Sure.
you ready? Okay. Here you go.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who was transitioning. Calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
It was Tyler.
Like, what? Why is he presenting this
So
as a pod? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
it's so touching the way that he talked about the way that he hid the murder weapon and then was hiding out nearby to try and go recover it so that his dad
Th-
wouldn't realize that he stole it. It was so touching how he planted a letter under his keyboard admitting to having done this horrendous act. It's so touching and so moving
so
how he
moving.
would talk to his transitioning gay lover about deleting all the texts so that he would be part of the cover up and implicate him. Yeah, it's ridiculous. This
B-
is
b-
you
by the way,
cannot hate the mainstream media
no, you
enough.
cannot hate them enough. But I want to say that another thing that I noticed today is that when you try to Google if uh, if Charlie Kirk's killer was a Democrat, it doesn't give you that option. You know how Google already gives you the options of what you can check?
Oh
It
yeah.
says, "Is Charlie Kirk's killer a Republican?" It doesn't give you the Democrat option. It's not suggested to you. You have to write it personally. Now, if you click on the Republican thing, there's a bunch of these kind of CNN articles and these things that are sort of, they're all trying to paint this picture that because his family was conservatives, that he's a conservative, when in fact what seems pretty clear that happened is that while they were conservative, he, maybe in that first semester that they sent him to some like school that accepted him, and then he left after a semester, that he started hearing other ideas. And what other ideas could he hear on those campuses? What exactly happened to him? I think that he seemed to have been radicalized more on the left side. You see what he wrote on the bullets. You see, even if you're a conservative, I think that this situation, what's going on here with this, listen, it's not that you can't be in this relationship and conservative. I suppose you can, but I'm just saying that it doesn't really paint a picture that this is the picture that CNN and the likes of them want to paint here.
Oh, they're desperate, absolutely desperate
Desperate, twisting the
to
search
try
results. Just
to paint Tyler Robinson, this supposed killer. They are desperate to paint him as MAGA, to paint him as right wing extremist, because that's the only thing that fits their narrative. It's the only way they can wrap their head around this. It has to have been someone on the right. They say, oh well, it was a young white male. So yeah, he was he's MAGA. Oh, he was a right wing extremist. No, there's absolutely no evidence of that whatever. If you look at the text messages, it's pretty clear. He's talking about how hateful the rhetoric was from, that he believed this hateful rhetoric from Charlie Kirk, that he couldn't take the hate anymore. And then, all this stuff he says his dad became MAGA, says, obviously tone is difficult to read in text, but when you look at it, generally a lot of people who are on the right don't necessarily refer to themselves as MAGA. There's some that do, but not a lot. In a lot of ways on the left, that's used as a pejorative, right? It's used, offense. They try to use it offensively, right? Uh, so if you look at it, if you read it, then oh well, he used a gun, he's a white man, he's whatever. Oh, so yeah, he had to be, had to be right wing, had to be MAGA, and they have been trying to push this narrative so hard, and it is infuriating because it is obvious to anyone with two brain cells to put together that no, he was very clearly not right wing. He was not a MAGA. He was not an extremist on the right. He was someone who was radicalized on the left, believed that Charlie Kirk's life was forfeit because of his hateful words, and chose to do what he did. And then, what also really pisses people off now, that with these texts, Isto probably already knows where I'm going with this one. It really pisses people off that they've been really harping on, oh well, if we had reasonable gun laws, Charlie Kirk wouldn't have died. See, it's kind of his own fault, right? The ridiculous take, and in this case, completely and totally wrong. It appears that the weapon was stolen from his father and belonged to his grandfather. So there is absolutely no quote unquote reasonable gun law that would have prevented him from having this weapon and doing what he did with it. Uh, it's it's ridiculous. And so yeah, they're desperate to try and paint him as some kind of right-wing extremist. It is not working. People are not buying it.
yeah, I agree. Let me see for a second. There was something I wanted to share. Let me see for a second. So Gutfeld has this show, this late night with Gutfeld. He's clobbering all those kind of Colberts and Fallons and Jimmy Kimmel. To be fair, I've watched his show here and there. I don't mind it. It doesn't really come off to me as a full comedy type of show. It's more of a kind of hybrid between political stuff and comedy. But the truth is that those late night shows like Colbert made such a political thing out of their late night shows that there's no reason for him not to have his, and his does better. And his also is more just him relaxing and sitting in the studio and talking to people. Again, not a show I watch regularly. Honestly, most of the time I don't spend a lot of time watching other things, especially like live stuff and things like that. I don't really watch a lot of other people's stuff. Maybe there could be somebody in our circles that I like their streams and I'll check that out from time to time because I know them. But generally speaking, I feel like, and I've said it before, and I know how douchey it sounds. Don't really need to listen to just a bunch of random people talking usually, because I am more interesting than they are. So why would I listen to them? Like they're wasting time that I could be thinking with myself about something. They're not broadening my horizons. Most of them, they're not really saying anything of significance, and they don't have like the character and personality to I don't want to be mean, but they don't have enough of that to occupy my spare time. I'm not saying that about everybody. Again, there's people in our circles and there are people that I know that I do like to listen to some of their streams, but my default is that generally I prefer I prefer to listen to myself. Whatever, make of that what you will. But with all of that being said, I ran into this clip where I guess Gutfeld maybe he's on a morning show. I don't know. I don't even know what the context is. Why he's on another show, I think on Fox, and he's arguing with some other lady there about this Jessica Tarlov. He's arguing with her about Charlie Kirk's. I thought this was a very interesting clip. Did you hear it?
I might have seen this. It sounds familiar, but yeah, you can play it.
We don't need it. What is interesting here is why is only this happening on the left and not the right?
I can't really hear it well, can you?
There's absolutely no cognitive.
What about Melissa
a little
Horstman
quiet.
that we just
you want to talk
talked
about Melissa Horstman? Did you know her name before it happened?
Oh, well, I don't know if I can find it. How do I make it louder? I don't know. It's so quiet.
I mean, it was loud enough on my end. I could hear it.
You could hear it? Could people in the chat hear it?
None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
She doesn't matter.
Let me see if I can find a better one. I can't hear him well. Other people, did they hear it well? It's either there's something wrong with me, my headphones, or I don't know.
You can look for that, Harold. I'll share this other video while you look for that.
I think I found
What
it.
is interesting here is why is only this happening on the left and not the right? That's all we need to know. There's absolutely no cognitive.
What about Melissa Hortman that we just talked
you want to talk
about?
about Melissa Hortman? Did you know her name before it happened? None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
She doesn't matter?
Don't play that bullshit with me. You know what I'm saying is there was no demonization, amplification about that woman before she died. It was a specific crime against her by somebody who knew her. The same. Now you could bring up Josh Shapiro, but then you will not bring up, for example, that was a pro-Palestine person. So don't use your. What about this? The fact of the matter is the both sides argument not only doesn't fly. We don't care. We don't care about your both sides argument. That shit is dead. For one thing, there is no cognitive dissonance on our side. On your side, your beliefs do not match reality. So you're coming up with these rationalizations like, what about this? Or what about that? We're not doing that because we saw it happen. We saw a young, bright man assassinated, and we know who did it. We are not coming up with rationalizations. We are calm, we are honest, and we are resolute. We're not defensive, and I understand the defensiveness. I understand why people are saying, what about this and what about this? Because if you have to face the underlying fact to this, your life is going to fall apart because you're going to realize you're not the good guys. If you sat around and you defended the mutilation of children, you're not the good guys. If you sat 600, 700 cases of harassment against Republicans and you said, but what about this? What about this? And then you see this murder after calling somebody a fascist, you realize maybe I'm not the good guy. That is a hell of a realization to deal with. So Therefore, you have to grasp at rationalizations. You don't have to do that, Jessica. They do. I don't believe you're part of that group, but why the hell do you have to mimic and echo that crap to us? He was a patsy. That guy was a patsy. He was under the hypnotic spell of a direct-to-consumer nihilism, the trans cult, and you know that. If you can decide that biology is false, you can agree that murder is okay and that humanity is expendable. How you cannot see that alone and see that for what the evil it is without having to attach all of these other things is beyond me.
I just want to be clear, and I want to let people speak. I in no way intended at all to minimize what happened to Charlie. I was horrified by it. I have not been on the five
But the
since
two
then,
sides argument, well, it's like pig
all I
Latin to a
requested-
duck.
No, all that I was saying is could we have all of the information before you just say they did this? Because that is a broad brush to paint with this. And this kid
Let's
does
have
seem...
a conversation.
No,
Charlie
it's not
had a conversation. He got shot. Look,
I
I'm sorry,
understand.
Jessica. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You weren't here for a week. You came in here and it's cold. And I'm sorry, but this is a story that is immune to news cycles. It's immune to rationalizations. It's immune to bias. This thing is with us for good. And we all have to deal with that. So that means we can't live by the same arguments that you might be reading about relativism among the media. We can't deal with those stories. It doesn't matter. The media is dead to us on this story. They built this thing up. We're dealing with it. We're going to act. We don't care what the whataboutism is anymore. That shit's dead. Sorry. For the swearing as well. I apologize to the American public. I'm going to shut up for the rest of the show.
That was like me apologizing to Sean.
Yeah. He was tearing it up though. And you know what? He probably did lose his temper a little bit there. But I think as he said, she was kind of coming into the show. She hadn't been around for a few days, and I think kind of brought this opinion in, and I think it was the straw that broke the camel's back for Gutfeld to be like, no, we are not going. We don't care about this ridiculous argument. You know what? Yeah, a lot of people did say this is awful. These politicians over here that were killed, this was terrible. But those were not big, well-known, worldwide known public figures. They were local politicians. They were and their family members and so yeah, the impact that those deaths had was significantly smaller. It was what happened to them wrong? Absolutely. Do we know the whole story behind why they were targeted? No, we still don't know. But this same playbook was tried out when those killings happened. They immediately said it was a MAGA person. Look, it was it was a white male MAGA person, and so white extremism. Right. They tried that before, and then we found out he was a guy who had been appointed to some kind of board by by
Tim Walz.
Tampon Tim.
Yeah.
It's gotten so ridiculous from some people on this. And what? I don't care about Charlie Kirk. What about those 3 kids who were killed in a school shooting? Yes, that's awful. That's absolutely awful, and it shouldn't happen. And guess what? Charlie Kirk also thought that shouldn't happen. And one of the things he argued for in numerous different discussions, and honestly, something that I fully support. You know what? If we have federal funding for schools, I don't think it's going to cost us all that much to make sure that there's an armed guard in every single public school, in every single district in the United States. I think without too much worry, without too much fuss, and without too much money, we could pretty easily pay for a minimum of a single armed guard, who's standing in those areas. But a lot of people on the left will refuse such an offer. They will refuse to say that because we don't want guns in schools. We don't want it. Well, what about having someone there who's trained, someone who's responsible for the protection of the staff and the students of that school, who is prepared to fight back, so that if there were some nut that decides to come to a school armed and start shooting the place up, that there's somebody there who's trained and ready to respond. Some schools have that. Some schools have resource officers who are there and are armed and are ready. A lot of times though, those people are part-time. They're not on staff. They're not there all the time. and they're not there. They think that simply making school zones gun-free zones is good enough. Well, clearly we've tried that and it hasn't worked. So maybe people on the left should be more open to some other potential options for making sure that our kids are safe. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see.
Do, do,
I had
a
so
video.
this is one of the clips. So this is not unrelated. Moving on from
Is this
some of the
something? I think
Charlie
it's the
Kirk stuff.
Phobos just sent it to me. I saw it in
Yeah,
my.
yeah, I think
Okay.
so. So Mazie Hirono, who most of you probably know, representative from Hawaii, who is a kook, and maybe one of the dumbest people in Congress. She was questioning. Well, let's just I'll just play it. Let's just play it. So let me know if this is too loud or
move on to my.
No, it's fine.
You've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees and possibly the age. But one question I had is that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
So
are
are
being
you requiring
appropriately
these
assessed.
kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy
Excuse me,
and put
the
him in
reason I
handcuffs, you
asked-
better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing
Anyway,
one pull-up
Mr.
is not
Patel,
harsh,
I
and there are
am
always
greatly
medical
concerned.
exemptions to that.
just
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
unbelievable. So this my favorite part right back in here. Let's see.
Which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you?
We have it on congressional record, Price.
Right.
From
Yeah, there's a
Mazie
difference.
Hirono herself. Women have physiological differences from men. What an amazing insight. Wow. And from Mazie Hirono herself, just incredible to get that kind of clarity into this argument here. She's clearly concerned that these new physical standards are going to have disparate impact on the fatties and also on women, right? So her basically. But she's worried she wouldn't be able to be an FBI agent because she wouldn't be able to do a pull up. But this is just it is as absurd on so many levels. So many levels that, first of all, Mazie Hirono, who's just a joke. She's laughable.
Yeah.
Then she's in there. She can't define what a woman is. She can't tell you what a woman is, but she's now going to tell us that women have physiological differences from men. And so doing these pull-ups, this is going to be a hardship. It's going to be too difficult for women to do this. So clearly, she's also implying that most women are weaker than men, which again, fascinating. That she's going to go out here and make this argument to try and own Kash Patel. Oh, you're putting physical things in place that are not going to allow women to be agents. No, guess what? I got to say, there's plenty of women who can do pull-ups. I know women who can do more pull-ups than I can. Okay.
I'm sure. I don't know if I could do them now, but yeah.
I to be honest, in my current physical condition, I don't even know if I could do one right now. But I have known women, serving in the military, serving as officers, in the police forces. I've known women who in various other ways. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, they have to pass physical standards. And no, we are not going to have different physical standards for the women versus the men. They all have to be able to accomplish the same tasks. You want equal pay for equal work? Well, here you go. They have to be able to pass the same physical standards, and we're not going to lower those specifically for women. So it's kind of ridiculous. Plus, Elizabeth Quinn says, my rule of thumb was if a woman can carry my husband off the ship, they can be in the Navy. Okay, well, there you go.
Because of this show, even my husband mimics the weird, which show?
Weird.
But I don't think she meant our show. I feel like she probably meant another show. Oh well, I have no idea. In any case, what was I going to say to you? There was something and I didn't want to forget it. Oh, okay. There's one thing I wanted to say that first of all, when I said that in our thumbnail, we said the worst people. We've talked about some of the worst people that they went and they're celebrating and they think it's so great that a man was killed with a family and all that, and they're misrepresenting what he said and they're pushing all those narratives. All of that is happening, and kind of shocking because you'd think at a moment like this would be the moment where maybe it would be like a wake up call, but nope, not a wake up call. Some of the weirdos and deranged people that have been acting the way they've been acting for years continue to just act like that now. Same type of people that celebrated that Mangiani guy killing the CEO of some insurance company.
So weird.
Same kind of people that they again, there was like the Emmys or whatever it is, and you had Hunter Schafer, and she's walking around, and everybody's complimenting how I mean, it's a. I don't know how to explain this thing. Hunter Schafer is a. What's the right? I don't know how to get out of this.
Man.
It's a man. In any case,
it's a man.
You have all the.
I'm not gonna mince words. I'm sorry. I'm so tired of all of this trans, gender identifier, whatever. Biologically, that's a dude. And whatever he chooses to dress up in, you know what? I got no problem with that.
No, I don't care either. I really
if you want to
don't.
dress up like that and you want to act all feminine and all that stuff, cool. You are not going to change reality. You are not going to force me to reinforce your delusion. I'm not going to do it.
No,
you're a dude. If you want to dress up like a woman, you want to alter your body so that you look feminine, whatever, cool, right? But that's your thing. You're an adult. You do you, but you are not going to tell me that I am required by law or by some rule somewhere that I have to reinforce your delusion to think that you're actually a woman, because you're not. There's nothing about you. There's no way, no matter how many surgeries, no matter how many hormones, none of that. You are not changing your biological DNA that you are a man. So male, it's a man.
So first of all, the
very
media,
feminine dude.
Yeah, so the media likes to kiss his ass or whatever it is, but the most interesting thing is that when he's not at the Emmys, like getting his ass kissed by the media and all that stuff. He's always going to all these like watermelon emoji enthusiasts rallies to fight for I don't know what, to support Hamas or whatever it is, and it's like, dude, you realize that is the last place that you would ever be able to survive. You know what I'm saying? If that person went to like Israel, I think that person could survive there. But if that person went to what they consider Palestine and went, even with all the strong support of going to all these rallies and kissing ass, it always kind of baffles me that these people don't realize that they're cheering on people that would not tolerate them for a second. You get what I'm saying? I feel like Professor was so shocked at what I just said that he disappeared. And will I don't know where he went. I suddenly looked and he was gone. But yeah, that's what I think. That I think it's very strange that the people, the strongest supporters of that whole watermelon enthusiast emoji movement, they are just clueless. They do not understand the culture and the place that they're and the type of people they're championing, and they would not be well received there. But that's why also there's a part of me that thinks, you know what, if Hunter Schafer and Greta Thunberg and that other lady, I don't know, that was yelling that she didn't like ice at the Emmys and she wanted to free the watermelons. I think all those people should get on a boat. They should go over again to do that trip to Gaza or whatever it is, and maybe nobody should stop them. Let them go there if they think it's so great. I mean, they should go and see if maybe that's a good place for them. I guess. And I don't know what happened to the professor. I feel like the professor, that was the last straw. He's just like, that's it. You said something bad about Hunter Schafer, I'm out. Hunter Schafer, that's his jam. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But you know what? Oh, Professor, I was just talking about you. I can't even hear him. I don't know what happened to him. I think he's on mute or something. Can't hear one word you're saying, Professor.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay.
I kept clicking on something. Rumble just crapped out. No, I think the Rainbow Mafia came from my internet connection price. I don't know.
I guess so. Yeah.
Not Hunter Schafer, and they weren't happy.
I was saying that you were so offended about what I said about Hunter Schafer, and that was the last straw. You couldn't continue to stay.
That was
you
it.
had to get up and leave.
Couldn't take it. Couldn't take it. No, yeah, it's something's going on with Rumble tonight. Maybe they're being attacked or something. It does tend to happen.
Sometimes it happens.
But
yeah, because a joke price. Yeah,
because I was like it's like the stream and everything, like from YouTube, the stream from Rumble, all kept running. But my connection to the studio.
Did you hear me? Did you hear what I was saying, or you couldn't hear me?
I could hear some. I turned it on while I was trying to get back into the studio. I could hear some of what you were saying.
You crossed the line this time. The thing is that I looked away for a second. I was next to my microphone. I'm like, I'm sure. Like, what do you think, Professor? And then you said nothing. And then I look and you're gone. And I'm like, oh no, it was the last straw.
Well, I was talking. And then, I was saying, and it was funny because I listened to it back, and I basically got out everything. It took in everything I was saying. But when I looked up at the monitor, your picture was frozen on my side, and I was like, "Oh no, who's locked up here?" And then I sort of popped over, and looked at the stream, and I was like, "Oh, my picture is frozen on the stream. I'm the problem." Okay. So that's what I tried to get it figured out. It's working. So yeah,
but
Hunter Schafer. Everyone's got to kiss his ass.
Right. No, but what I was saying is that him, Greta Thunberg, that other lady that collected an award and said she said fuck ice and then all this other stuff.
God, yes.
She loved watermelons also. I think I said that I think that all these people should get on one of those boats and go to Gaza, and I don't think anybody should stop them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that the whole approach of stopping these ladies that want to go plant themselves in Gaza, maybe they should just go there.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that there's a part of me that's just thinking to myself, imagine they arrive there and talk to them about the environment and all this stuff. It's like, it's the most surreal thing I can even think of now. Thinking of those ladies and dude going to Gaza.
Yep. Now, anytime I see these awards price, I only have one thought in mind. Anytime I see these things,
speech ever at a ceremony ever.
It's
that was
perfect. It is exactly what every last one of those bloviating, self-important, narcissistic bastards needed to hear. Every one of them needed to be just shoved in their face. Shut the hell up. No one wants to hear it. Come up here, take your award, thank your agent, thank your family, thank your God, whatever it is, and then F off. Right? That's like
Right.
that's a there you go. You know how much more viewership the Oscars and the Emmys would have if they didn't have to have all this political BS, if they could just focus in on just the show and just, the stars and the movies, and everyone could be there to root for the films that they were interested in without having to worry about some dumbass getting up there with her bloody handprint pen and yelling about free Palestine. It's
By the way, I wrote about this yesterday that Stephen Colbert won a Pity Emmy Award,
Oh, yeah.
which is basically his show got canceled. It's not worth it for the network to pay him anymore. They just want to see him go because he's a waste of money and doesn't really bring enough sponsors or viewers or anything. And they gave him an Emmy, and they all got up and gave him a standing ovation, and they were all yelling, "Steven, Steven." They all got up. All of Hollywood were kissing this man's ass. It's kind of a strange situation. He's never even won one for his show before. This is the
Nope.
first time that they gave him that prize for his show, and the only reason they gave it to him is out of pity because they fired him, and he was such a vocal TDS person, and they have to show solidarity, so they gave him an award, and they're all cheering him on. And to me, it just seems like very pathetic. It feels like it's not real.
Yeah. He's been doing this for a decade.
Right,
And he's never won.
And
Never.
rightfully, I mean, these awards suck anyways, but the thing
Yeah.
is that rightfully so, because there's nothing special in what he's done. The past decade, he's been whining and whining, and I don't think you're supposed to get an award for that. Don't get me wrong. I think that the people that they give awards to, I think they like giving John Oliver and his team or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. No, you're definitely rewarded. You are awarded, I guess, in this case,
The
for
more woke
your
and stupid, yeah.
for your ideological purity. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But clearly others were far more ideological
Well,
than
I mean, the thing
than
is
him.
that
So,
John Oliver, in some strange way, actually did a kind of coup. Basically, this is such a strange situation, but what happened was Jon Stewart he was the host of the Daily Show, and then one day he got up and he fancied himself a director, and he wanted to team up with, I think, was it Bassem Youssef?
I think
To
that sounds right.
I think that guy always whines on social media today, that Bassem Youssef. It's the one I think.
Mhm.
I could be mistaken now. Maybe my wires are crossed with a few different people, but I feel like the guy. There's a guy that Jon Stewart basically went and he made this movie about him. Apparently, it's a guy that he wanted to tell, jokes in Egypt, and they wouldn't let him tell jokes, and then they put him in jail, or they didn't put him in jail. Jon Stewart wanted to go all like, look at me, I'm directing this quality movie about like free speech in Egypt or whatever it is. What ended up happening was he stepped away from his show for like 2 months and directed this movie, which about 3 people watched to date and didn't do anything or didn't go anywhere. So then the 2 months that he was gone, they didn't know what to do. And at the time, Stephen Colbert already had his show after John's. It was this Colbert Report, and you had John Oliver just waiting around there in the wings. So they said, John Oliver, why don't you sit here for like 2 months and just you be the host of the Daily Show? So he did it for 2 months. He seemed like, it wasn't a major ratings drops or anything like that. It just kind of did okay. And the second that ended, HBO came to him and said, "Hey, would you mind doing a show once a week instead of like 4 times a week and do it on our network?" And he's like, "Sure." And the next thing you know, he took basically the top writers of the Daily Show, the ones that were working for Stewart, I think, for years, and he took them with him and went to HBO. So basically, Jon Stewart's decision to go film some woke, shitty film that nobody cares about, in a way, I'm not trying to be mean, it's nothing personal, was kind of his undoing. Did you know that?
No.
So then he comes
Yeah.
back, and shortly after this whole thing, he goes, "I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for John Oliver and for all my writers that went. It's such a great opportunity. I'm going to be retiring." And that's around the time that he stepped away. Now you could say,
okay.
"Oh no, it wasn't it. It was all a coincidence." It's not a coincidence. This is how everything went down. And then what happened is that like John Oliver since then has been sort of like, I mean, it's very woke what John Oliver does, but it's well organized. And I think that the reason it's well organized is because he took the top people and brought them with him. So just interesting, just some politics that I think nobody knew here. Not that it even matters. All these shows are a headache to watch. I do think that back in the day, a very long time ago, Jon Stewart was kind of, he knew how to laugh a little bit more about, even if he's more of a left thing, he knew how to laugh a little bit about, both sides. Very, very early on in his career. Over the years, he just went more and more and more and more left, and then went like full TDS mode or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, what happens is that they start doing these shows and trying to reach a big audience, and then they get a big audience and they get lots of money, and they decide maybe I don't need all of that audience anymore. Maybe I should listen to this guy over here and that guy over here that's in my bubble that says, oh, you've got a big audience. You have a responsibility to platform the right ideas. You can't be both sidesing things. You can't be, having conversations with people who are not part of you know, not part of the right group. And so you need to do things this way. And so this happens to all of them. This happens to just about every one of these people. They start off and early on, they're more moderate. They're willing to have conversations with other groups, other people. And then the bigger they get, the bigger their head gets, then the less and less they're actually willing to listen to outside input. And then they turn completely inside on themselves. They turn completely into their bubbles. And then it's all just left wing nut stuff from then on, right? Yeah, tends to happen.
Yeah, and by the way, yeah, I'm absolutely right that at the end, it's fine if you like that Bassem Youssef guy, but at the time, like, Jon Stewart was like, look what a swell guy he is. Look what he's swell guy. At the end, he ended up platforming that Bassem Youssef guy who nobody gave a shit about. He gave him a platform, made a movie that nobody saw, helped boost his career, help him. I think maybe he lives in the US now. Now he sits around and has, like, in my opinion, terrible takes, and he's super annoying. And I don't know what good came out of all of this. Jon Stewart was the big loser, and then somebody here said that at the end, and I like what Phantom Monk said here, he kind of played himself because then he came back too. See, what happened was after that, Jon Stewart said, well, I don't need the show anymore. I can just do like a podcast from time to time and everybody's going to listen to it. So he tried doing something with Apple, and that flopped. And then at the end, they just said, well, why don't you come back to Daily Show? And he probably said, well, John Oliver only does once a week. Why can't I do that? So then they said, okay, why don't you come back on Mondays, do the Daily Show, and the rest of the week you don't have to do it. So you're just like John Oliver. You can come one day a week and do your show. And then he's like, okay, I'll do that. And that's how they kind of got him back. So I feel like Jon Stewart made a series of mistakes. I, I I mean, I'm not worried about the guy. He has enough money. He has a lot of money. It's not like I'm worried about him or whatever happens to him. But I'm just saying that if it mattered, if his position in all of this thing mattered, he did play himself. He made a series of mistakes. Nothing good came out of any of his mistakes. And at the end, another thing is that I think that another thing that, like, the camel broke the camel's back, the straw. You know what I'm saying? It's late. That CBS took Colbert for the Late Show. I think that was like that, along with the other guy going to HBO. He figured that was it, because everybody basically that was his underling was getting better deals than him and sort of surpassed him. Quite honestly, I still think he was better than the both of them in some ways, even if I don't like everything he says, and I think that he went very woke and annoying. I still think that he's probably better than them, but it didn't help him.
Yeah.
They got the good deals, and he got, like, sort of left behind in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim Hayes says he went TDS, but that's the only reason he's considered a liberal. Otherwise, he'd be conservative. Honestly, I think that I mentioned earlier classical liberalism. I think that Jon Stewart tends to fall more into that camp. But he's in that echo chamber that's constantly pushing these other ideals, constantly pushing this other stuff, and then pulled into this suicidal empathy pattern where it's, we've got to empathize with this group and that group and this group and that group. And then that's really distorted, I think, maybe some of his central ideals. And to be honest, that's the same with a lot of people. Sal the Hamster mentioned, yeah, Samantha Bee also got a show.
Yeah, they all got shows, but
Yeah,
Samantha Bee, that was a stretch already,
oh god, Samantha Bee's show was such a disaster.
Awful. It was
It
awful.
was so
And somebody said he was doing the 9/11 responders fund work. If he stayed doing that type of stuff, he would have held his comedy acting career.
Yeah.
If he would have focused on that, he would have been fallen under the kind and been a little more middle of the road. He could have been under the, positioned himself as like a national treasure. Because honestly, if there's one good thing I can say about Jon Stewart in terms of outside of just telling some jokes on a show, the work that he did and what he was fighting for with the 9/11 responders, that is
Absolutely.
actually something that I respect. It is the one thing that as much as you could say is annoying or whatever it is, somehow in the column of him doing something positive, I can't take that away from him. No, I'm serious. I think
Yeah.
he did a phenomenal job with that.
No, he did. No, you're right.
Yeah. And if that's where he devoted his energy, if he's telling the news and he's a little bit more of a centrist, laughing at these people, laughing at those people, no TDS, and in his spare time helping in situations like this, he could have been awesome. He could have been, even I dare say, like the king of late night if he would have played his cards right. But he couldn't help himself. He just couldn't help himself. He had to go, the TDS route. And I guess he couldn't recover from that. It was a combination of TDS and really, believing too much of the hype around him or whatever you want to call him. In any case, it is what it is. He's going to be fine. I'm sure that he has a lot of money and he is going to be just fine. In any case, we were talking about. Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say we have a sort of a follow up to Maisie Hirono, the video that we watched earlier.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. You could show that. Yeah.
Here.
Oh wait, it's the Phobos sent 5 Price of Reason
yes.
Live memberships, and he did that on YouTube. Let me see for a second if I can pull that up. I just want people to see what he's done. Mr. Phobos is great. He's also sent us these clips that we're talking to you about.
Yeah. Again, and I appreciate this, is Phobos. Yeah, I've seen all of these today. It's just there's so many, so many to go through. I pulled up a couple more of the engagements with Kash Patel today, which was also some fireworks that were interesting to watch. Yeah, we had it was 5 Price of Reason Live gift memberships for Mr. Phobos.
Very kind of you, Mr. Phobos. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Do we have another super chat or? No, that was the earlier one. Okay.
That was an earlier one, yeah. But the dead man gets an encore.
All right.
There was something you wanted to share. Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah. I can't see it because you're sharing the other thing. All right. So, this was posted by Senator Britt today. Katie Boyd Britt was talking specifically to Maisie Hirono based on the comments that she had made earlier. So this was rather hilarious.
Before I begin, I want to thank Senator Hirono for what she said, acknowledging that there are physical differences between men and women. Talking about that women wouldn't be able to do as many pull-ups, and I think that she was making a case here that there should be different standards. There's a thing called Title IX, and this is why we continue to say we should have biological men and men's sports and biological women and women's sports. And so I look forward to utilizing that to talk to all of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Maybe they will stand with us in helping us protect women's sports. I think she made a great argument there for it. Before I begin, I want to thank...
I see what you did here. That was such a... Probably she's being scolded behind the scenes that she said something like this. This is like an own goal.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, there was plenty of other fireworks going on in the hearings today with Kash Patel. There was the bit with Mazie Hirono that we saw earlier. We had this little exchange that happened between Adam Schiff, perhaps the most useless member of Congress here.
The American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements
Oh,
of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform. Point of order. But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet.
You go ahead and you run out there to the cameras where you want to be right now. Yeah, exactly. He called him out on his BS. All this clown does is grandstand and then go out and get in front of the cameras, start talking about, oh, see, I did this, I did that. He is a joke. He is a laughingstock. And I cannot stand him. I do not understand why anyone would send such an absolute piece of garbage.
Finally, I saw Kash Patel doing something positive.
Just shredding Adam Schiff. I love it. There's I don't think there's anyone serving in Congress that I cannot stand more than him. There was another fiery exchange with yes, here we go.
Oh yes, with Spartacus.
With Cory Booker here, yeah.
Why do they call him Spartacus? Do you know? Why is
I don't know.
That's his nickname. I don't know why Cory Booker is Spartacus. Anyhow, let's see what happens.
Want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I
my
follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tears
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
There should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can
embarrassment
try all
to the
you
division
want
in this
to
country.
not take
Senator, it is
responsibility
my time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making
time
a
is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what my
you
time
tell-
is.
Senator,
You can't lecture me.
you can tell me
Sir,
my time's
you have-
over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going
but
anywhere.
I am not afraid of you,
Mr. Chairman.
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. Senator Booker, I announced at the beginning of this meeting that this back and forth talking over each other doesn't work. And I said if that happened, I asked Patel not to respond, and I was going to give him some time after the senator's time was up to respond. And he has the privilege to do that uninterrupted.
Mr.
So
Chairman, one point of order.
Go ahead, Mr.
I've
Patel.
watched him talk over us, and you've never once criticized him for us not even being able to get our questions out.
Well,
he has been rude and disrespectful to senator after senator.
And when the senators were not giving him a chance to answer, I didn't stop the senator either. Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the FBI, under my 7-month leadership, were failing this administration in this country, why do we have 23,000 violent felons arrested this year alone? A 200, a double increase from that time last year. Why is it that we have seized 6,000 weapons? Why have we found 1,500 child predators and arrest them? Why have we have 300 human traffickers in jail? Why have we found and identified 4,700 children? Why have we seized 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl in enough to kill a third of the American public, a 25% increase alone from last year, 88,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, 7,000 kilograms of meth seized, and that's just on our criminal operations in summer heat. How is it possible that we're taking 8 kilograms off the streets of the cities in New Jersey and preventing the deaths of 607,000 people this year alone, a failure of the FBI and my leadership? How is it that we have counterintelligence arrests already this year exceeding the numbers from the entirety of last year? 33% increase in PRC, 83% in Russia, 60% in the CI space as it relates to Iran, and we haven't even talked about CT, the southern border, the northern border.
Yeah, just tearing Cory Booker a new one. But yeah, Cory Booker, just getting, so angry. Oh, how dare you? I follow you on social media. You can't. Oh my God. Really?
Yeah, I actually saw at least this. I didn't see the shift when I saw this one, but yeah, that seemed like it was an interesting day. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he's not doing good or he is doing good, but I think that this was the first time that I've seen him really. Maybe there have been other cases, but I think he did a good job talking to some of these people today. I think that meme is funny too.
Yeah, they said they did the meme.
They did the meme. They did the meme. It is a funny meme. Anyhow, there was something that I wanted to show you about the Emmys. I don't know why this was a strange thing. I made a comment on some post, but then I ended up getting like, sometimes you do a reply and then you get a million other replies from people, and it seems to never end. So this had to do with the Emmys. I think
I got one of those today.
So
I did.
it had to do with the Emmys. What was yours about?
Oh, they were, okay. So one thing we haven't mentioned, when we were talking about Charlie Kirk. So you heard today. First of all, we saw the text messages. We mentioned that. The other big news that broke today was about the old guy that they had initially arrested immediately after the assassination. Did you hear about him today?
I didn't. I just remember that the killer said, "Oh, they stopped some other old dude." Like, and
Yeah,
not
yeah.
me.
So he mentioned that in the text. So okay, so that guy who was
George Zinn or something like that.
George
He's like
Zinn,
some
yeah.
troublemaker.
So I guess he was kind of known as kind of a troublemaker, whatever. But he apparently that he's just an agent. He's of chaos. He's kind of crazy. And so
Seems that way.
after this happened, he started yelling, "I'm the one that did it. I'm the one that shot Charlie Kirk. Shoot me, shoot me." And so he was doing what he could to try and distract the cops. And then he admitted under interrogation that what he was doing, he was intentionally trying to distract the police so that the actual assassin could get away. There was no implication whatsoever. There was nothing in anything that he said, anything that was released in the public that said that he was in any way coordinating with the shooter. Just that he, whenever this happened, the chaos started to ensue.
Interference. He was running interference.
Exactly. He decided that in that moment that he was going to try and
based
create
on his
more
own
chaos.
accord, he was running interference. Yes.
Yeah, he was gonna create some chaos and whatever. And so there was some guy who kept coming at me over and over again in the comments because somebody said something about we're gonna get so this guy's gonna get charged for for being some kind of accessory to this thing. And I was basically saying, well, no, actually, if he did have foreknowledge of this, then yes, he would be, he would, in some way actually be somebody who Well, you know what?
Right.
Here,
This is more of an obstruction of than
yeah.
I would think that this could be some kind of obstruction charge if somebody was really annoyed. Say like, hey, these guys need to, do their job, and you stop police officers from doing their job. So in
Yeah.
that sense, it's some kind of obstruction.
Yeah. So somebody was saying basically, hey, if this is true, he needs to be prosecuted as an accomplice. So I just stopped and I said, hey, if he had foreknowledge of it, absolutely, he's an accomplice. He is an accomplice. If not, then well, they've got him on aiding and abetting. They've got him on obstruction, maybe even accessory after the fact. All of those things still more than enough to put him away for the rest of his life. Right.
You're probably right. Yeah.
He doesn't have to be an accomplice, doesn't have to have foreknowledge of this. He could just be a nut. And so I had somebody who kept coming back to me saying, no, you don't get it. This was, he knew about it. He knew what was happening. He did this on purpose. And I kept saying, we don't have any evidence of this whatsoever. We don't have any evidence that he knew what was happening. He said, why would anybody do what he did if they didn't know what was happening before? And I said, crazy people do crazy shit all the time. There's literally there's nuts who turn themselves in claiming responsibility for crimes they didn't commit. This happens all the time. This guy in the chaos of
seems like some jerk off. Yeah, I
in
actually
the
think that's
chaos of what was happening, just decided I'm going to make this even more chaotic. I'm going to, make myself the center of attention. I'm going to try and distract the police. It's nuts. And he said, oh well, if he were insane, he'd be throwing poo around. And I'm like, no, crazy people do crazy things. They don't follow logic. Like it was nuts what he did. He literally asked people to shoot him. And there's just, and I said, there's just simply no evidence at this point that he colluded. And all he would do is keep quoting back the actual original post saying, purposefully, saying that the wording that was used by the poster on X that saying purposefully meant that there was collusion, that the guy actually knew what was. I said, do you even know English? Right? We just
I
kept
think he's
going
just
back and forth with this guy, insisting that this nut would not do what he did unless he had foreknowledge of the assassination attempt. And then eventually the guy just if we're posted and then blocked me so he could try and own me or whatever. I'm like, God, man,
I mean, the thing is
ridiculous.
that he could be probably, like I said, without even hearing all these details. I told you what you said sounded like some kind of obstruction of justice, and in
Yeah.
a situation like this, that's a big deal. So keeping
Yeah.
a police officer from doing his job in a situation like this, they could certainly pin some stuff on him and make an example out of him. What they're going to do with him, I don't really know, but certainly there are a lot of options.
Well,
So
our buddy here who helped with this escape, I think Zim was his name. Even though yes, he was looks like he was going to be tried for obstruction. Looks like that was the charge that they brought against him. Well, while they were interrogating him, they got to look at his phone. You'll never guess what they found on the phone, Price.
I already saw in our comments some people talking about it. So he likes to read a lot of PDF files. He keeps a lot of PDF files on his phone.
Kid pictures of kids. And so he will not be leaving federal custody for the rest of his life. So
Well,
uh
what can you do? And
Yeah.
and now on a much lighter note, on a normal day this wouldn't be the light thing, but this is such a light-hearted story now. I hope everybody's waiting for like a feel-good story now, or feel good in comparison to this. Are you guys ready?
This better be about puppies. Oh, it's about Trammell Tillman. Okay, that's fine. I love me some Trammell Tillman.
Okay, so basically what happened was, if you saw the show Severance, you have this guy, Trammell Tillman, who plays their boss. And I think that he's done a really good job on the show. Now, I will say I liked Severance Season 1 better than Season 2, but I think that his performance stands out because, like, you need this guy to kind of be this weirdo and I think he's really good as this weirdo. And I feel
Yeah,
like in
Mr.
season-
Milchick. Yes.
Mr. Milchick. I feel like in season 1 they really knew what to do with him, even more than season 2. Season 2 I have a lot of issues with. Now, for some reason they didn't give him the award for season 1, but they gave him a supporting actor in a drama for season 2. And immediately, I'm saying immediately, like he's still holding the award on stage. You have like Variety, The Hollywood, Disgusting Shills, you know what I'm saying? Like all those guys. Sorry, I meant discussing film.
Disgusting film. Yeah, we know.
Disgusting film, disgusting commies, or whatever you want to call them. In any case, they immediately, it's the first black man to ever win an award ever, whatever it is, and you start seeing all these things pop up. I mean, they couldn't even wait for the guy to get off a stage. And I said to myself, when I looked at it, I said to myself, I know nobody understands this, but this is a huge disservice to the actor. Because I've seen this show, and I think his performances are good. He really is a good actor. So if you're going to give him an award, just let him take his award and thank everybody and leave. Why do you have to go out and do this thing 5 seconds when he's still on stage? Why do you have to do this stupid thing? And I don't know, I innocently, when I sometimes don't even answer, most of the time I don't even answer these guys, but I answer them. And I just said, why highlight his skin color rather than his acting, which is legitimately good? Now, I got some likes, but of course, this also started triggering a lot of weirdos that popped out of the woodwork. This is one guy. I don't know why these things annoy me so much, and I can tell by the likes. I guess a lot of people like this. Well, it's the kind of people that like discussing commies. So, you know, what do I expect? But in any
Yeah.
case, one guy answered, a first is always worth noting. Why did it make you feel uncomfortable? It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. This is not making anybody. I'm trying to do the right thing here. If he was good on the show and he deserved an award, why are we all talking about his skin color? Why can't we say that he did a good job acting and he won an award? So then he's like, I wrote, not at all. You're cheapening his acting achievement with your obsession over his skin color. So what it boils down to is that you don't understand the Black American experience, and that's okay. No one should expect you to. Have a blessed evening. And you know, I'm probably going to say something that maybe will annoy some people, but here's what I think here. The Black American experience is not the only experience in the world. People have different experiences, and I think that in 2025, I'm tired of this rhetoric over and over again. I say that, and I explained here, I wrote, no, what it boils down to is that you think that constantly talking about skin color promotes equality when in fact it does the opposite. Real equality is when an actor, white or black, wins an award and everybody focuses on his great performance instead of the color of his skin. The day we focus on the craft and not on people's personal insecurities is the day we move forward together as a society organically. I'm really proud of myself. I think these are like very thoughtful answers, but it doesn't matter because I have more weirdos. This I don't see color shtick is just to cope to the fact that it's a horrendous that a black man is just now winning the award. It's so shameful. So many black men have come with talent worthy of that award of being, him being the first definitely deserves to be highlighted. This sounds so stupid. I know the people writing this and the people cheering here think that this is great. This is the opposite of great. Does not help any cause. It does not respect the actor. It doesn't do a service to the actor who actually did a good job acting. Everybody's talking about his skin color instead of saying, hey, I watched that show. He was great on that show. Good that they gave him an award. Let's move on. Why is that not the conversation? So then I wrote, if Tillman was the first black man to ever win any award, the first black man to win an award for acting, or even the first black actor to ever win an Emmy, you could make an argument. But Harry Belafonte won an Emmy in 1960, and we're in 2025. You were coping, not me. And then this is when you know that I already won. Then you have like the people that come out and they have nothing more to say. Oh, OMG, I just opened this app and you're still going? Dude, you've got to go outside and touch some grass. And it's like, why don't you come up with a fucking argument instead of this same stupid playbook of the touching grass? Anybody that says go touch grass is usually the biggest jerk off on the face of the earth. That's what I have to say to this. Never mind. I'm going to keep it clean here. In any case, and then you have like the final guy that shows up. I wrote, so you have no counter argument because you're a loser and can't debate anybody about anything. Gotcha. So then the final one comes and says, No, because you're a retard.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the final arguments I got, the touch grass and that you're a retard, because they can't say anything anymore. Do you get what I mean? Nobody
Mhm.
had any more answers for me. I laid it out, I explained my arguments, and they had nothing to say. And that's what you get at the end. You get like, and these are the nice ones. You know what I'm saying? These are
Oh,
the
yeah.
nicer ones that are like, go touch grass and you're a retard. That's the nicest you'll see. Because a lot of times it's something even worse than this. And the funniest thing is, I'm arguing with a guy, nothing personal. He's been on on Twitter since 2018. He has 1 follower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm arguing with this guy, you know what I mean? This guy is coming to lecture me. And then, not that
Yeah.
it matters, it's just funny. And then this other guy also, like, I don't know why. They're the ones. They're like the morals police,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I actually saw, like, while that was going on, I remember I saw one of the chimed in on one of them in their price.
I think so.
Where
I think I
basically
did see
I
that.
hopped in and said, "Look, did he win his award for acting, or did he win the award for being black?"
I'm trying to
If he
find
won,
yours now. How come I
if
can't
he
find it?
did he win the award for acting, or did he win the award for being black?
Here, this was yours.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wrote, did he win the award because he was black or because of his acting? If he won because he was black, that diminishes his accomplishment as an actor. If he won because of his acting, he deserves to be celebrated regardless of skin color. And then I did the meme.
Yeah. Yeah, the meme. Yeah, I use that one all the time. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And I genuinely think he deserves to be celebrated as an actor, regardless of the color of his skin. And I'm so tired of every single time we've got to jump out there with first, it's the first this, it's the first that. Of course, we had a friend of ours, internet help desk, that chimed in. Hey, I was the first
Right, where was that? That was funny.
white gray-haired man with a beard who from northern England who raised money on a charity stream over 1,000 pounds.
I also like Niet. He said, for all the people on the right, for all the talk of people on the right being Muzis, it's the left that are obsessed with race. Yes, they always are. I don't really get it.
It
I'm trying to
absolutely
find
is.
where was internet help desk. It's hard from all these weirdos that answered to find like the responses I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
Oh, here.
and then of course also yeah.
Did you know I was the first mid-40s Sea of Thieves streamer from the east of England with gray hair and a beard to make over 1,000 pounds for charity? Everything is a first if you keep adding extra content. And I wrote, good work, sir. But yeah, that's exactly it.
Yep, and then next year it's going to be the first Asian Islander with only one leg who got an Emmy for something, whatever. Yeah, it's always this. It's always that, because they want constantly to make the discussion about race. They can't just say, "Hey, look, Trammell Tillman won this award because he gave an amazing performance as Mr. Milchick." And I agree with you, Price. His performance, he should have been nominated and won for his first season. His performance in that role is disturbing. It's incredible the way he delivers, like the way he's delivering things both physically and verbally. The way he's interacting with the innies and they're kind of treating them like children, but there's this menace behind the way that he interacts with them. It's amazing. He put so much. There's so many layers behind what he's delivering as that character, and I love it. Absolutely love it. His
Right.
acting
I
was
mean,
fantastic.
it's unfortunate for him that I think in the second season, just the writing wasn't as strong. But in the first season, his performance is memorable, and I think that in that category of supporting actor in a drama, definitely worthy of a nomination. And I also think that giving him an award also makes sense to me, because I thought his performance was really good. That's before I saw any posts, before I even knew he was nominated. I didn't care about anything. I just happened to catch some of the ceremony, and they're like, "Here, whatever," and you give him an award. And it's like, great, they gave him an award. He won it. Great. And then I look and immediately all this crap. And Angelo DD says, I think you won the argument. I just went outside to touch some grass. Now that I'm back, I still think you won.
Yeah.
Phantom Makes Sense. He carried a lot of that show. Yeah, you really need his performance to carry at least some of that. I would say that I think Adam Scott does a really good job. I thought that guy did a really good job, Tremel Tillman. And I think at least in the first season, Patricia Arquette was pretty good as well.
Yes.
Those were for me like the standout performances if I really think about it.
Did you see the red carpet with Patricia Arquette?
I didn't, but Jason Webster,
she's
you
like,
took the
she's
victory
like,
now.
I don't even know why I'm here. I was barely in this season.
It's true. I don't know what I was sad that she wasn't in anymore because I think that she's good and they didn't really know what to do with her. That was some of the
Yeah.
problem, that in the first season you had all these good actors and they knew what to do with all of them. And I feel like in the second season they really dropped the ball on a lot of these stories, and it got so kind of it's the type of show that if you don't have a plan, then you start writing yourself into a corner. And I hate to say it, but based on the second season, I don't believe they have a good plan, which is why I don't think that the third season is going to necessarily be better than the second. But if I take the first season and look at that guy's performance, he gave a great performance. It was a year too late, the award, but he certainly is worthy of an award. So
Yeah, without question.
So yeah, I just, and Jason Webster says, when somebody falls back on snide comments and not articulate valid points, they've lost the debate or conversation. Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is, the original person that was like, I think at least one of the original people, one of the guys that was talking to me, that I really explained it in a very direct way, he stopped responding. It's just one of the early ones that came back and he's like, yeah, go touch grass. It's like, dude, it's such a weakling move that like I'm already making all of my points, and if you have something to say to refute what I'm saying, say it, but nobody does.
Yep.
And I really think I understand that somehow people have been told this thing, oh, the black experience. Listen, I understand that bad things happen in history, and I'm not saying that the black experience is always great or that everything great has always happened to black people, but I will say that it's not the only experience in the world, and I think that in 2025, I think we should all think of how we move forward together in a collective experience and not keep saying, oh, what about this experience? What about that experience? Almost everybody from wherever they came from has an experience. I mean, Asian people, they had it tough coming to this country. There were historically times that they weren't treated nicely, but they overcame a lot of adversity. And you could say that about every group. There's so many people that came to this country or have in history things that they had to deal with. Now, I'm not going to say that black people, at least some of them, didn't have to deal historically with difficult things. I'm just saying that in 2025, to celebrate when the first guy that won an Emmy was in 1960, I think that this is already really petty and stupid. And it's not like other black people didn't win a lot of other awards. It's just that somehow, by some kind of odd, fluke, probably they were nominated. And to date, there wasn't a guy that, won the drama for the supporting actor. I mean, that's one category out of many. It's not really at this point the biggest deal in the world. You know what I mean? It really feels like you're reaching here.
Yep. And I always think back to this. So Badfoot was already on the same page as
Black
me.
History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
I don't think that anybody could have put it better than what Morgan Freeman said here,
Nope.
because I think that this is the truth. And I also know that there was a while back, I don't remember what the interview was. There was some kind of movie that Denzel Washington was in, and some reporter tried to make the interview about him being black or something like that. And I think that he kind of cut her off, and he really got annoyed. He wanted her to stop this because he just wants to be an actor in a movie. He doesn't want the conversation to be about his skin color. And it's no coincidence that people like Denzel and like Morgan Freeman are such well regarded and highly skilled actors, and it's pretty much a consensus because they don't need any of that bullshit. You know what I mean? Like they go
Yeah.
and they do their job. They don't need any of that. Their work speaks for themselves.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
say the
need
both
any
of
of this.
them. The both of them. Work
Right.
speaks for themselves. Denzel Washington is one of the finest actors of his generation or any generation.
Absolutely.
The man is
Absolutely.
incredible on screen. One of the most talented, most moving, just incredible actors I've ever seen, and incredibly humble too. Like it's so funny when people ask him about like, oh, you won awards, and he's like, yeah, you know, whatever. Like he loves his craft. He loves what he gets to do. That this is his job. That he gets to do, and he puts everything. He puts his whole self into it, and it shows. He's incredible. Morgan Freeman, say he's done so many incredible performances, and man, he's got the voice of God, man. That
By the way,
incredible voice.
By the way, I just noticed we have 2 additional things on our thumbnail. We didn't even
Yeah,
touch
we
upon.
do.
Okay. Quickly, I'll tell you. This is like the lightning round. Okay, I just want to say one thing. I said all the things that bothered me about Charlie Kirk and how people were responding to it. The one thing I'll say is that I also, especially these type of people that are not my favorite on the right side, and they're usually more kind of on the fringe or more extreme or whatever you want to call them. I feel like there's this kind of annoying situation that a lot of people are trying to tie themselves to his legacy. Be like, pretend that
Oh, yes.
they were with him. You have some people going with the angle, well, we didn't really like each other, but you know what? I sure respected him. Like, and trying to tie that person to the legacy. Then you had like, oh, he was my best friend. I'm so angry and full of hatred. All of this annoys me. You know what I mean? Like, I think that those voices that are usually, and I hate to use this word, kind of grifty, sleazy, opportunist type of voices, I really would prefer to hear less of them. I know that's not going to happen because there's a void, and they all want to kind of jump in on this legacy thing. It just kind of annoys me. And the more I see them making it about themselves and continuing to argue back and forth about it, it just annoys me more. It's like it's obvious to me that this is happening, and the thing that makes me sad is that I see like people really taking the bait and getting into these conversations with these people who were nothing like him. He went out and in good faith had conversations with people. He didn't sit around just hating everybody and saying like the biggest crackpot conspiracy theories 24/7. He had like some class and grace. He went and he talked to people. He made real arguments. And these people that I consider like, not in the same league as him, nowhere near the same league as him, they're trying to sort of like latch on to him, to his death. And that annoys me. I just wanted to say it. People can interpret what I said any way they want, but that's how I feel. I feel like the conversation now should be how to honor him, not to this annoying thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Chris.
Oh yeah, no, the coattails. People trying to ride coattails has been it's gotten pretty absurd. Yeah.
I saw that Lauren Chen is back, but it wasn't her that put me in the group with the eggplant emoji. Hey, Ian, how's it going, man? It's good to see you. And okay, so let's see what
Robert Redford. Robert Redford.
Okay,
We're going to
Robert
talk about
Redford. That's our
Redford,
lightning
yes.
round. Robert Redford passed away, and I mean, I think maybe he was a bit of a strange activist and stuff, but I think he came from a generation where his activism was mainly like he wanted to fix the ozone layer and stuff. I don't remember him being overly aggressive. Maybe I'm wrong. Was he very aggressive in his politics?
On occasion he could be, but I think a lot of time, mostly what I remember him for was he was environmentalist. That was something that he was very, very focused on for a long time. He was
Yeah,
anti-nuclear and stuff. And then I do also remember he was also an activist for like for indigenous peoples, for like Native American rights and stuff like that. I think in more recent years he's also been involved in LGBT stuff. But no, he was not one of those like get out there and say awful things about people types of activists generally. He was one who was simply out there supporting the ideas that he followed, and so I think a lot of people still had a lot of respect for him. He was 89 years old when he passed. He passed today, and yeah, I think a lot of people still very much had a lot of respect for him.
well, I can show you a movie that I really liked and a scene that's very memorable within that movie from The Natural, which is like I think this should be the final scene there. And what I will say is this. First of all, whatever his politics were or were not, like he is a screen icon, the kind that we don't have many like that left over. This is from the age of Hollywood when you're a star, it really means something. He was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
major Hollywood star. This is like a classic iconic actor. In addition to that, I will say that I think in the past, those kind of Hollywood activists, they like to talk about the environment and helping Native Americans or whatever it was, but I feel like they weren't like having meltdowns about it. You know what I mean? I think that it was a more innocent time, and you knew that some of those actors like these kind of causes, and sometimes maybe you agreed, sometimes you rolled your eyes, but it wasn't anything that like you don't want to go see their movies anymore. It wasn't that alienating. So there was something you believed in. Maybe you cared about the ozone, you didn't care about it. I think that most people just it wasn't that big of a deal. Trust me that if Hollywood stayed only focused on the environment and the ozone layer, we wouldn't be in the position we're in now. That's not, you know, also to be fair, it's not that saying that you want to help the environment is a bad thing. I mean, if you want to clean
no,
garbage and stuff, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Some of those ideas are delusional, some of them are misinformed, and some of them maybe there's some merit to them. But I think that back in the day when these kind of Hollywood types talked about the environment, it was a lot more innocent. What you have
yeah.
today is like a complete deranged, weird thing. I don't consider him, unless I'm wrong, never got the vibe that he's like fully deranged. So he had some politics. It wasn't alienating, in my opinion.
No, not at all. No, he was much more of the like, think globally, act locally kind of, uh, hippie, like
Right,
old time
exactly.
hippie, and no, he wasn't out there, at least generally, he wasn't out there trying to, force all sorts of stuff on people. He was really more about like, hey, take responsibility for this. Make sure that that you're doing what you can to be part of the solution type of activist rather than these very screamy, yelly, gluing themselves to famous paintings type of crazy.
Quickly, I want to go through this. He supported some Republicans as well. I didn't know that. I used to think that Roy Hobbs was an actual person from Tomahawk 501.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played such a good character here that you want to believe that a guy like this existed. Roy Hobbs is the best that ever was. Then you have the internet shows us what these actors really think. Yes, but the problem is also the actors saw the internet and started talking a lot more than they should and getting a lot
Yep.
more involved in stupid things that they just didn't need to get involved in. So it's sort of like a two-way street. But yeah, I generally agree. Sundance and Butch, that's a great movie with Paul Newman. And the one thing I'll say is,
Yeah.
is that Sundance is the festival that Robert Redford created. And
Yeah.
some good things have come out of that. I think that Tarantino, it really helped his career. There's a lot of people that actually festival helped nurture a lot of talent, and that was a pretty cool thing that he did. So don't have anything bad to say. I'm going to show this scene from The Natural.
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
wonderful movie, and he's
Yeah.
so good in that movie. I always remember that performance and how much I
Yeah.
liked it. And
Yeah, that was one I have not seen that one in forever. It's not one of the first ones that I think of, but it's a fantastic film. Yeah, someone mentioned Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That's one of the first ones that pops to mind.
of course, that's a
I
classic.
love that film. Such a classic. The Sting is another one.
The Sting, and you
Just
have All the President's Men
fantastic.
also.
All the President's Men. Sneakers was another
Sneakers, I
one.
like that one too, yeah.
That one was kind of like just when I started like really discovering film as something that I really enjoyed and loved. Like seeing that one, loved that one. Of course, we got to see him play a role in the MCU back when the MCU was something to be celebrated. We got to see him as Pierce, the head of well, he ended up being the head of
Winter Soldier,
Hydra,
yeah.
actually, yeah, in Winter Soldier.
You know what?
We got to see him play a role there.
He
Yeah.
added credibility to a movie that was
He
already a
really
good
did.
movie,
It
but
was
seeing
a
Robert Redford there in his position kind of
Just
added that final touch that you needed.
Yeah, it brought a lot of gravitas to that role,
A lot of
and,
credibility.
yeah, a
Just
lot
him
of
being there,
credibility
you
to the
feel like the
film.
movie is more legit than it is,
Yeah,
you know?
it's like, "Oh, wow, the MCU has Robert Redford in it?"
That's what I thought when
Wow.
I saw it. I'm like, "Wow, they brought Robert Redford." Like, that is absolutely the feeling I had when I watched the movie, and not only that, it's exactly what was needed there. It was back in the day
Yeah.
when the MCU was on top of its game, really making winners, before all the crap that they do now. So, yeah, definitely, definitely. And then, so that's really a loss. He was 89, so I can't say that he didn't live, like, a full
No,
life
he
or anything.
absolutely yeah, he lived a very full life and, delivered some absolutely amazing performances in his time. He helped, like you said, the Sundance, Film Festival, which has helped a lot of independent filmmakers make their way, into being able to really, show their expertise and be able to, move into other, larger projects. All of that really, really great stuff. Yeah,
Maher
him and his film institute.
his
Yeah.
Twilight episode where he played Death stands out to me,
Yeah,
and
that
then
was a really good episode. Yeah.
and then Tomahawk 511 said, "I heard Redford was also on the short list to play Michael Corleone in The Godfather." I think that he was an actor that said, if I'm not mistaken, that it was him or somebody else, but I thought it was him, that he preferred that an Italian actor plays it. I think that he wasn't too keen on playing that role. Back in the day, they got away with stuff like that more, but I think that people were like, "This really has to be an Italian actor." I honestly am so happy that whoever didn't take that role, it's really good because Al Pacino as Michael Corleone, uh, that's such a good performance. Such a good
Mhm.
performance as Michael Corleone. As much as I like Al Pacino and he has so many other good roles that he's done, I for some reason still until this day think that like Michael Corleone, especially in Godfather 1 and 2, has to be his finest work, in my
It
opinion.
really is, yeah, yeah.
Because what
He's got
happened.
some other great films. Scent of a Woman is another one where he puts in a powerhouse performance.
He carries that
It's a
movie.
little over the top. It's a
It's
little
over
over
the
the
top.
top, but it's supposed to be,
He
right?
carries
And
the
it
movie on his
works.
shoulder, and I
He
actually
does.
will say that in a way, it got him his Oscar, but it also kind of
Mhm.
did something negative. Because I feel like after Scent of a Woman, all of his roles, he kind of acts like he did in Scent of a Woman,
You're
and that
not
was all
wrong.
like, too much of, like, "Wah, hoo-ah," like, that kind of,
Yeah,
like,
you're not wrong. It's just there's way too much bravado. He's way too much over the top and just about everything else that he does after that film.
I still really
And,
like him. I
yeah,
am
no.
a Al
Yeah.
Pacino fan. I think he's one of the great actors. Don't get me wrong, but I will say that movie kind of strengthened something that he does that I don't know if he needed to do so much more of. But that's just my personal opinion. Still, even with his bravado, prefer him over many other actors and think he's a fantastic actor. So don't want to take away from him. And I met him once, as I told you, and that was
Yeah.
a great experience for me. And now in our lightning round, we have 10 minutes for me to review a movie. Are you ready?
That's okay. It's probably a movie that only needs 10 minutes.
It
So go
only
for it.
does need 10 minutes. So it's called Eleanor the Great. This one is kind of strange, okay? So I saw an early review, an early screening of this. It hasn't come out yet, They only showed it like at the Cannes movie festival a few months ago. They showed it once, and then I saw it a few nights ago in kind of an early screening, and it's going to come out. It says here Friday, September 26th. So I guess in 9 days or whatever it is. Is it 9 days? I don't know how. Oh, I guess now we're on Wednesday. I don't know. Who knows? In any case, this movie was directed by Scarlett Johansson. Did you know that?
No.
It's her her directorial debut. And basically, I've seen the movie, so I'll just give you a quick my thoughts about it. First of all, this is an indie movie. You could tell this isn't a movie that like you didn't get 100 million or 200 million or whatever it is. I would say that I would be surprised if this wasn't in the 10 to 20 range, maybe less. I don't know. Unless there's expenses that I can't think of, this seemed like a smaller indie movie as far as I could tell. With that being said, I think that considering what seems like a relatively low budget and not a lot to work with, I actually think that Scarlett Johansson, especially for a first directorial effort, I think she did a pretty decent job. Now, the story itself is a bit kind of strange. I'll just give the general idea here. This is basically the story of a lady, June Squibb plays her. June Squibb, by the way, is 94 years old, and she plays a 94-year-old woman in this movie where she's pretty much in every scene of the movie and is like the lead actress that carries this movie. I can't say that I'm not impressed. I don't even care if you like the movie or not. If you're 94 and you can put in that kind of performance, already like respect for me. Seriously, I mean that. Like I was sitting there thinking, I don't even care about this movie. So impressed with this lady. Like this, come on. If you reach 94 and you could actually carry a movie, I don't know. You get some props. That's just my personal opinion. But in any case, the story itself is that this lady, she had a roommate that she lived with, in Florida for years. They're widows or whatever it is, and it was her years. This lady is her best friend. She ends up moving to New York, where she has some family, and through some strange circumstances and events, she ends up accidentally giving the impression that she is a survivor of bad things that happened in Germany in World War II,
Yes.
even though she's not actually a survivor. And
Yeah.
it sounds like a very strange and dark place and weird place to take a movie that's billed as a comedy. But you know what? I think that this movie, I actually think, manages to address things like grief and even things like that in the Second World War, but also, it manages to have that comedic feeling. It's not too heavy. It manages to find this balance of being, on one hand, a little lighter, but touching upon some other things that maybe are more difficult to touch upon. And I didn't hate the movie. I thought to myself when I saw it that this is a low budget movie, and considering what I think Scarlett Johansson had to work with, I actually think she did a pretty darn good job. This movie has, the actor, I'm going to say his name wrong. It's, I am usually really good at never making mistakes with names, but, Chiwetel Ejiofor? Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah, something like that.
I did my
yeah,
best. Chiwetel Ejiofor. That's what I'm going to go with. Chiwetel
I
Ejiofor.
can't. I have a hard time with his name. I'm sure someone pronounced it for it. I do.
Chiwetel
I think
Ejiofor.
his last name is Ejiofor. Ejiofor. But
Ejiofor.
yeah.
Let's go with that.
But anyway, I'll just say this: we can't say his name. I really respect this guy. I think he's a fantastic actor.
I think he's a really good actor too.
Really, really love his work.
It's good to see him in this movie. He does what he needs to. And then you have this lady. I don't know why she's familiar to me. I don't know why do I know this? Oh, the ex-wife of Ross in Friends. I got it. In any case, yeah, I knew she was familiar. The surprise of this movie, and you're not going to believe me. Remember Freckle Jesus from Willow, from
Oh,
Solo.
Kellerman.
So I
Oh,
want to tell you something. When
no.
the movie started and I saw this
Yeah.
actress, I started rolling my eyes and saying, "That's it. This is DOA. She's in this movie. It's done for." Because I didn't believe her as that warrior in Solo. Didn't believe her as like the Flag Smashers or whatever she was supposed to be in. You know, in Captain Falcon. That I didn't believe that either, and I sure as heck didn't believe her in that crappy, awful Willow series. But I
Yeah.
will say this: in this movie, I thought she was fine because for the first time, she wasn't asked to be like a medieval warrior or a warrior in space or a like the leader of the revolution. She was just playing some like young lady who is a college student and is like depressed. That was basically her role, and I think that that's probably the best thing I've ever seen this young actress do. If she were smart, I would go more for indies and more for these type of roles. This one suited her 100 times better than all that other stuff. And as much as like I myself have commented on the whole her being in these kind of shows and her performances, which I didn't like, I will say that this isn't the first time that I've seen Disney take like a young actor on the rise, throw them into the water and into a bunch of roles, completely like derail their career, and later it turns out maybe they actually had something to offer. So I have to be fair here. In this specific role, I thought she was good casting, much better than anything else she's ever been in. That's make of that what you will. And
I'm shocked. I'm positively shocked.
again, the role is she's just a depressed teenager. I think that's fine. You know what I mean? It didn't. There is this difference between being like the charismatic villain leading an entire revolution with a bunch of like dudes that are twice your size, and you don't believe that she's leading the revolution. That's a problem. Do you get what I mean? It's putting her in a position that it's just not right for her. The medieval thing, she didn't look right for that either. That whole Willow show was a disaster. She was a disaster in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Depressed teenager. It's the role she was born to play,
you know what?
baby.
Sometimes you need that role. What you got to play to your strengths. I also will tell you that Alden Ehrenreich or whatever his name is, that guy is a decent actor. Anytime I see him in anything that has nothing to do with Disney, he puts in a decent performance. He was fine. He did something. There's even a memorable scene in one of those Coen brother movies. I think that's how he was discovered, that they put him in one of their movies. And he's actually quite funny in that scene. And he was fine in Cocaine Bear, and he was fine in Weapons. But then you have him on stuff like that stupid. I can't even remember Ironheart. You had him in Ironheart, and you had him in like Solo. Complete crap. He's not a terrible actor. It's just you can't do every single thing with every actor. Sometimes there's stuff that like maybe the actor just isn't right for. And replacing Han Solo was a bad idea to begin with.
That was a terrible
He was
idea.
never going to be, a young Harrison Ford, especially that he's playing a guy that's like 5 years before we first saw Harrison Ford, and he doesn't look anything like him, and he doesn't act like him. So I guess what I'm saying is that my takeaway from this is that Disney sets a lot of these actors up for failures. Same with directors, same with writers. Sometimes they actually hire terrible people, but sometimes I think they also set them up for failures. Just putting that out there, and had to be honest and give my opinion. At the end of the day, the movie, I'm not saying it's like the best movie ever made. I'm saying that it's a movie that I think for its budget and for whatever it was trying to do, it was a rather enjoyable movie. I've seen these same kind of critics give that movie that I told you with the lady with the horses, which was one of the worst I've seen. That's sitting at a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, while this movie is sitting at a 63%. This movie is way better than the stupid horse lady, okay? So all I'm saying is it's not the best movie I've ever seen. I wouldn't give it 100, but it's better than 63. And when you consider that it didn't have a lot of money, it tried to tackle a lot of different issues, and at the end has even a few poignant things in it, a few, I dare say, even heartwarming elements in it. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. It was okay. It was a decent movie. Not the best, but decent.
Yeah.
Make of that what you will.
All right. Well, I think with that, I think it's about time for us to say
We
goodnight
just
to our friends.
about
We
made it
will
in the lightning round, Professor.
shout
Yes.
out.
Now, if you
Yeah,
tell me who to
so
say goodbye to, I'll do it right
yeah,
now.
here you go. Here's our friends over on Rumble.
Over on Rumble, we got Tim Hayes, Sal the Hamster, Istophobos, Phantom Monk, Discount Ovid, Double R Star, Bingo Hazmat, Empress NM, Elizabeth Quince, Pure Blood-Based Berserker, Darren Mai, Fulsome Lockdown, and Angelo DD.
Yep. And then over
I hate it
on
when Price doesn't hate a movie. Sorry to disappoint you.
over on YouTube, we were joined tonight by FKHC 2005, DJ Play Nice, Tim Hayes, Tomahawk 511, Yitis, Bishop Judas, Jonathan Conroy, Kayla Levine, Granola Grin, Istophobos, Alyssa Marie, Julie Evans, The Dead Man, Stephen Mack, Hoot Owl, Mark D with a C, Marla Sharondoff, Hurricane, Darren M, Kendrick Lama, Badfoot, Marks 47, Keely Chow, Davion Donaldson, Superior Nav, Faye, Zunar J5, Pete Roble, Jason Webster, Mayor Rizzo, Mr. X51, Rebecca Gold, and so thanks everyone for being here. And if we missed anybody, sorry about that, but we're also glad you're here. And if you're just hanging out with us, if you're listening to the stream later on, or if you're just out there listening in live, we're glad to have you. And don't forget to leave us a like, leave us a comment after the stream, and we would really appreciate it.
Right, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, or
Yeah,
follow
of
us if you're not already following. And if you're on Rumble and you haven't opened an account and you're just watching through the app, you should sign up and then follow us because it's free. And yeah, I think that, Professor, if you have something you want to plug before we go, then it's up to you.
Oh, no, just the usual. We'll be back here on Thursday evening at the usual time, 11:45 Eastern, talking about whatever it is that has happened between now and then. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about, but we'll see you back here on Thursday for the Night Owl. And then, of course, Friday evenings, B-roll stage. And yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern on B-sides. Yep.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll see you guys on Thursday at 11:45 p.m. as we always are, 11:45 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday. It's the Night Owl, and we'll see you all there. And with that positive outro, I think you and I can sign off, Professor.
That ought to do it. Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.